you're going to do a little introduction to each other, John, Mary, Ken, John.
Sure.
Hi, John.
Hi, John.
Pleased to meet you, Mary and Ken.
Nice to meet you. I go by Mary Lou, but thank you so much. John, now I see a UCLA t-shirt. Are you out in California?
Los Angeles, yes.
LA, good. We've got a daughter and son-in-law in San Francisco, so I know that area real well. We're we're just north of Atlanta, and both of us have worked in mediation for many years and done a lot of work with. I'm the past president of the International INADR, the International Academy for Dispute Resolution. My husband's the president-elect. We had several years between us, but we've worked in the field of mediation, and we really think a lot of our friend
Vikram.
Vikram.
Yeah.
He is a wonderful person, and we really honor all the work he's doing.
Thank you very much. These are the nice things I have to hear. That's it. Done. Event over. Okay, sir. Harshit is also here. He also, please, Harshit, put on your video. And look, let's get everyone in. Let's just introduce each other. Then I'll take you through the basic idea, because no one ever reads my posts. No one watches anything that I do. So I have to take this opportunity to tell you about the World Mediation Circle. So hi, Harshit. You want to?
Hi,
Michelle. Hi, Michelle. So we were just doing a little introductions. John and Ken and Mary have introduced each other to each other. Harshit was just going to do it. Okay, Michelle, and then we'll get you. Yes, Harshit, a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go forward.
Hi, everyone. I'm Harshit. I'm an attorney in India, and I just moved to US last year to pursue LLM in dispute resolution from Strauss Institute. I've been working in mediation field mainly on the creating awareness for mediation in India, and I co-founded an organization in India as well. The organization aimed at creating litigation-free villages in India, and while working there, I realized like I needed a more specialized knowledge in mediation, so I moved to US to study more about mediation. So yeah, right now I'm mediating court cases, small claims cases in Los Angeles County Superior Court. Yeah, that's my story.
Okay, so John is also there. John is also in Los Angeles, but we'll come to that. But we'll get Michelle in. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, Vikram. I'm good. How's everybody doing? Hi, John. Nice to finally see you face to face.
My pleasure.
Michelle, little introduction. Little one.
It's a little one. Okay, so I'm Michelle. I'm a graduate from Pepperdine Law, Pepperdine Strauss Institute for Dispute Resolution also. And I do volunteer mediations with John, which is really cool that we're able to see each other face to face like this. He introduced me to Harshit, and he and I had the opportunity to meet while I was on campus at Pepperdine last weekend. Because Vikram, it's really cool. I was asked to participate in the residency at Pepperdine. So I was an assistant professor there this past weekend. So that was wonderful. I'm a mediator. I'm a professor. I am a peacekeeper. All those things.
Michelle, where are the other hats? Why only one cap? What about all the other hats that you have? All of them are there? Somewhere there.
I have so many, but you said to be brief. So I'm
gonna because Michelle has been on my shows and events. I think she's spoken a lot about herself. We know a lot about her. But yeah, we've done a 4.5-hour event. I mean, there's a show I have which is called In Conversation with the Beautiful Mind. So 4.5 hours we've done. That set the record of that show also. And a mother also came in. It was really nice. So if you people have time, whenever you have, please search Mediator Vikram Michelle Edison and you'll find that also. But Tina is here, but she hasn't put a video on. So Tina, you want to join us? Tina, you cannot see you, Tina. I think video might be a bit of an issue. But okay, but
Yeah,
what?
I'm here. Thank you, Vikram.
Okay, here, there you are.
Hi.
Now we see you.
Yes. Yeah, I sent you a little note to that I needed to start a little bit early because my computer is dreadfully slow, but I'm happy to be here.
But Tina, what's
So,
happened is introductions have happened. So of course, Suzanne is here. Suzanne, we're just doing little introductions. So we'll come to you also.
yes.
So Tina,
So, yes,
please.
happy to be here. Hi, everyone. So I'm a mediator. I'm from Delaware, but most of my work has been either remote or in Maryland. So I'm a mediator, empathy circle facilitator, conflict coach, and I'm excited to be here because we've been chatting a lot about getting the US Circle launched, and here we are. Wonderful.
It's taken its time. It's taken its time, but we are here. So
yes, finally.
Erin, look, I think the whole thing is going to be introductions. That's what's happening right now. So we'll get you in, but Suzanne came before you. So Suzanne is going to tell us about herself. Yes, Suzanne, a little bit. Suzanne, can you hear me? Or we'll get you in a little later. Okay. Erin, please. Yes, you can do it. Yes, not tough. You've done it. You've done it.
My name is Erin Moynihan. I own Courageous Engagement and I live in California. I'm an alternative dispute resolution resource for my community, and I support people in a whole person-centered approach to conflict resolution, whether it's within their organization or within their individual lives. So it's been really fun mediating in my community and worldwide, and it's been really interesting learning about my community and what the conflicts are that we're facing after COVID and how things have changed and helping people to navigate that. So I'm really excited to be with all of you and to learn from all of you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Erin's also been on a lot of my events. So of course, if you search her name also, you'll find those events. So Nina, Jeff, we're doing little introductions. So Suzanne, I don't know whether Suzanne, you've come in. Can you hear us now? So please, a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me, Tina. I appreciate it so much. I am a former mediator for the United States Department of Justice. I've also worked in the international development field in Pakistan and have focused a lot on both domestic conflict, racial discrimination, and I'm also a communication specialist that's worked with quite a few leaders, elected and otherwise, to help them bridge gaps and learn to build bridges in their communities. So I currently do consulting through my own company. And as a first time here, I look forward to just engaging and grateful to be here.
Thank you for Suzanne for coming in. Thank you, Tina, for inviting her. So Nina, we're doing little introductions, please. And you want me to write your full name, or because the idea of putting the full name is that at least when people want to connect with you, they've got your name to find on LinkedIn or wherever. But unmuting helps. It helps, but we can do without it also. No
yes,
issue.
no, my name is Nina Giannotti. I'm on my phone, so I need to figure out how to navigate.
I'll do that.
You can do it? Okay,
Yeah,
so
no
it's
problem.
GIA and
Yeah, no problem. I know. I'll get it.
You get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, everyone can find me at Nina at trimediation.com. That's TRI mediation.com. So I've actually known Vikram for about a year. I think I gave a little talk on apology or forgiveness or something a long time ago. And I got into this. My professor, Ken Cloak, I'm a big fan of his method of transformation or transformative mediation. So that is something that I try to practice. I go between Zurich, Switzerland, which is where I am right now, and Santa Barbara, California. So I mediate in both places.
Good. So that means we also have to launch the Switzerland Mediation
Yes.
Circle. Yes, that
Yes,
has to
that would
happen
be
soon.
wonderful.
Yes.
Why not? Why
So
not?
Jeff, please, a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Jeff Cruz. I am in Kansas City, Missouri, and I have been a follower and fan of Vikram for a long, long time. I have been mediating for about 6 years, 7 years, something like that now. And before that, I practiced law for 20 plus years, handling product liability, personal injury matters, and usually on the defense side. And I became a mediator because I traveled around the country and saw the differences in how mediations work, and I wanted to try some experimental things, and I've done a lot of training in trauma-informed mediation with Don Kuhlman, and so that's what's led me here.
And Jeff is creating a community. Jeff, we'll talk about that later. Okay, we'll talk about that later. But he's also wanting to put a community together. So that's a good thing. But what I want to do is let me take you through the concept of the World Mediation Circle, because this is that opportunity, because you're never going to watch anything that I do. And so let me put that out, and the other things which are coming up, I'll tell you. So basically mediatorvikram.com, you find the information. This is what we did on 17th of April. So lots happens in the World Mediation Circle. So this was on 17th April. We had the Australia Reflective Practice Circle launch. We had the Kazakhstan School Mediation Circle, Mexico. This is Italy. Then we had the New Zealand Mediation Circle launch. So these are like, okay, so I'll tell you about the web. So this is like the International Reflective Practice Circle, the World Mediation Circle, the Global School Mediation Circle. So it's a web which everyone, I mean, we get to know about that. But World Mediation Circle, what is it? It's just a community of people who believe that conflicts, disputes, fights, misunderstandings, miscommunication, whatever you want to say, they want to resolve it amicably, collaboratively. So that's the community. So that's the larger community. And mediators and mediation being, in a way, a core of it, because obviously there are communities, there are peace circles, all that happens. But I feel that mediators have a very important role. One, to put communities together. The other is, of course, taking them through the process. So a little bit of a definition there. I keep pointing this out, that this is taken from the Singapore Convention, but 3 words which are in italics have been added there, which I feel should not have been missed out. So it's a voluntary and informal process for me, and with a trusted person. So that's the important part in what we'll do, finding those trusted people and bringing a moral values, principles, and ethics-based humanistic approach to dispute resolution, where heart, soul, spirituality play an important role. And you'll get sick of me talking about heart, soul, spirituality. I speak a lot about that, but for me, that's an important aspect of the mediation that I want to promote. And mediation is the blind man and the elephant situation. Everyone has their way of looking at it, and no one, I'm sure, is wrong. Let everyone be what they do, but this is the way I look at it. So, of course, heal and strengthen relationships. But now what we're doing is creating that safe space. So this is that community where people come together, have conversations, dialogue, collaborate, consensus building, but without debates, activism, or advocacy. So this space, I feel, doesn't get created because it doesn't serve anyone's purpose. Why should you have people coming together and just having a good conversation or a dialogue or work towards consensus building? Let's divide them. That is where the politics is. Let's divide and rule. So as we go along, the larger picture, larger vision is that redefine politics, and you move away from the colonial legacy of divide and rule and consensus building with mediators as leaders. So that's why the core of it becomes mediators and mediation. So all of you definitely have an important role to play there. And we're creating them in schools, colleges, organizations, and communities, and creating them only when you people create them. So everyone has to, of course, create their circles. We'll find out what your thoughts on that are. And we have the larger community is people who believe that they should resolve their disputes, conflicts, etc., amicably. So those are participants. And then you have the people with the mediator mindset, no qualification, certification, training required, just the mindset. Same thing, the peacemakers, they have that skill of bringing people together, important skill for the circle. To get people to sit together to resolve something by itself is an important skill. So we need those people. We need the people with the mediator mindset. But what we are doing is we're going out and asking that question that, do you know someone who has that mindset? And bringing them into the circle. So it's about reach. That's why the trusted person kind of aspect of it. And then now I'm just putting it out briefly, and then we'll get your thoughts. And then you have a form here. I don't know. I mean, I know some of you fill it, not everyone. So please fill that. And this section tells you about what's happening in the year. So date wise, you'll find that lots happens there. So you can have links to the YouTube link videos. And here's all the circles that have been launched. So I think we've already done for 45. So more will keep coming in. And I will then take you through the various circles which have been launched. Then I'll get your thoughts on it. So I'm trying to make it as fast as possible. Please bear with me because I have to put it out there. And because to get the larger picture is the first thing, the way I look at it, and then your thoughts on it. So let me just put that out. Because it's important to know it's not just country based. It is various kinds of circles. And I don't know whether you people have watched any of the recordings. So let me just take you through the various circles. So the World Mediation Circle being the larger circle, everyone part of it, all circles, of course, part of that. Then you have country specific. So India, USA, lots more. But then we have these kind of circles. So the World Indigenous Peoples Mediation Circle. So we'll talk about what all we need to do in it, all of them, but let me just put it out briefly right now. Then you have the International Reflective Practice Circle for everyone to come together, share their experiences in relation to mediation and learn from each other. So that space we do it for every circle. So USA Mediation Circle will have that, but then the World Mediation Circle is the international one. So wherever you see international, global, world, just we have the concept of trying to put it in every country also. So the USA Reflective Practice Circle. Similarly, the World Indigenous Peoples Mediation Circle. So you have the USA Indigenous Peoples Mediation Circle, and whatever area everyone wants to work in, please. So Commercial Mediation Circle. Then you have the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the larger circle for that. Then we'll also launch for each of the circles. I've already done that for goal number 5, which is gender equality. So the Global Gender Equality Mediation Circle already done, but all of them. And goal number 17 specifically talks about collaboration, and who better than mediators and mediation for that. So important role for mediators and mediation. And then the World Refugee Mediation Circle, important area for work, lots to happen here. Then International Organizational Mediation Circle, every organization to have a mediator, an outsourced one. But here again, building capacity within organization. So identifying those people within the organization, developing the culture there. So it's not just you are a mediator for the organization, you're creating the culture there. So that part. And the family target being every family to have a mediation circle. So that's what we have to help create. This is a game that Massimiliano created for people to experience conflict resolution, not teach them anything, you just make them experience it. So he made a step-by-step kind of thing there. Then the global school and college mediation circles, then environmental, climate change, natural disaster, sustainability. Again, replace global with USA. So those have to be launched. And the issue based, so we have the Israel-Palestine. Similarly, any other issue which comes up, please create circles around that. Bring people in who want to obey. Idea being, get all points of view into that. And then we have country specific. Then this is how you see the web. So this is a university in India which has created it. It is part of the Global College Mediation Circle, part of the India Mediation Circle, part of the World Mediation Circle. So that's how the web functions. And then the Artificial Intelligence Mediation Circle. I find this also, lots of work to happen here. Erin also, we've done a little test kind of thing, how ChatGPT can be a mediator. So a possibility which mediators have to think that, okay, if people can be programmed through trainings, let's do it to artificial intelligence, give everyone in the world a mediator in the house. Let's do that rather than say that we'll create certifications and qualifications. Let's give this, because we want the larger world to benefit from it. And wherever humans are required, hopefully they are, then we have these circles, the mediation circles that we create. Then, okay, Turkey, this is a book. So like if they're country-wise, Ecuador, this is a community that I live in. So again, that web kind of thing. Then the country specific, the Kennan's latest book, we discussed that. So that those shows really haven't been happening now. This is the show called Talking Books because some of us don't read them, but these shows now, maybe not too many of that will happen. But the World Mediators Conference is going to happen in May. So all of you must participate in that, which is what Nina is talking about. She participated in the last one. And then we have, okay, now the country specific. This is like just a little boasting that I'm doing, putting it out there. So all these circles have been created. So that is also required. And we have the launch, then we have the gathering. So this was like a gathering for the work. So after this, we'll fix a date for the gatherings of the USA Mediation Circle. Normally it's a specific day in the month. This is what I was saying. This is like goal number 5. So this is for that, and we'll do it for the others. So we'll have a USA Gender Equality Mediation Circle, and then gatherings and Mexico, Zambia, these people working on climate change. So that's a good thing there. Benin, Brazil, the gathering. This is what I was saying. Okay, so this is almost done now. Your patience is good. I won't test it anymore. So this is happening on the 24th of April. Same time, same Zoom link. This is for the larger World Mediation Circle. So I've done my job. Now, thoughts from you. So John, in the order that people came in, so no one gets this thing. So John, thoughts, please.
I think it's a great idea to pull mediators around the world. Collectively, we need to figure out how to get people to start thinking about mediation instead of going straight to litigation. I think that's quite a task. And it's going to require the help, I think, of attorneys. It's just that we cut into their livelihood a little bit, possibly. And I think that's one of the problems of converting attorneys is that they think that ADR stands for a dollar reduction of their fees. So, but it really truthfully is for the client actually a cheaper way to handle conflict resolution. So I think that this is a great idea for all of us to get together and brainstorm to figure out how we can make mediation top of mind instead of something that gets referred to by the courts or by attorneys exclusively. So and I'm happy to be here to discuss that.
Yeah, the attempt, the larger, I mean, it's not going to happen immediately. The attempt is that whenever dispute resolution is mentioned, the lawyers and courts are not mentioned with it. It doesn't have to be an automatic reaction. That is the culture that you have to change. And this is, for me, it's again a colonial legacy, this whole concept that dispute resolution has to happen in courts and lawyers have to be part of it. So that aspect has to change. And that's why, but how do we change it? We don't find those people within communities, schools, colleges, organizations who have that mindset, and you put out mediators. No use promoting mediation if you don't have the right people there. That's why I'm saying artificial intelligence might be better for us, because you have to have a good user experience. You have to come out with that whole thing that, look, I enjoyed this experience, I connected with the person, or whatever good things happen to you. It's not that, I mean, okay, I've criticized the situation in the US in my events. I won't do it right now because we'll get that later. But the issue is that that part of it, courts and the lawyers part of it, we'll have a discussion on. So I won't get into that right now, because that by itself, I mean, a lot of you have heard me do that. I won't do it. Yes, okay, Mary, thoughts, please.
I think it's an excellent idea. I'm like John, I would echo his thought that bringing people together across the world. My background's a little different. I'm a licensed psychologist. And so I've approached mediation from a very transformative viewpoint. And, you know, I wrote the first book by a psychologist on mediation and had my friend Ken Cloak do an introduction to it. And it's now in its 3rd edition. So my idea is, I do think it needs to be international. I like the idea of connecting with international people. A lot of my work now is international. And I just think, the more we can get people to talking with each other and really listening to each other and realizing connections, I think that's important. the second thing I'd like to say, and I'm going to pass it over to my husband, is to, that given the culture, and we're among friends in the United States here, we've got enough going on in our country that there are lots of opportunities to bring people together and get people to the point where they're dialoguing and listening to each other, without violence, without hate, without anger, with curiosity and what's going on with you and how can we work together. But my research is, my work is informed by research, and I integrate that into the approaches and the training that we do. And I'm just real excited because I think a lot of Vikram, and have had some opportunities to work with him in the past.
Yeah. But Ken, you can come in. I have to give my thoughts for what you said. Look, the important thing is that each of you have to create that space. That's the important part. Yes, Ken, please.
Right. Just a couple of quick things. I want to echo what Mary Lou says. We work together a lot. I come from a legal background. But Vikram, one of the things I've always appreciated about your work is that your definition of mediation and the things that you focus on take us away from that court-oriented type mediation. And I have always valued the direction that you want to take mediation, because I think you and Ken Cloak and some of the other people who work in the organization have the true spirit of mediation and why we should be involved in it. I've been around mediation since the 1980s, and I've watched it evolve. And it's evolved in directions that are good, and it's evolved in some directions that aren't so helpful. And I think that, the direction you're trying to take it, Vikram, is the direction it needs to go. So I appreciate what you're doing here, and I think you have a good way of bringing people together.
No, thank you very much. And the idea is, look, the thing is that mediation is happening all the time. It's all out there. All I'm saying is that all those people who are doing it, let's just bring them out from those closed spaces that they're doing it. And children are doing it with their friends. There are people in college, in organizations, in communities who are all out there. Maybe those things have changed over time, because definitely the way society has restructured, or the way it has developed, a lot of things have changed there. Communities have broken down. So maybe a social pressure sometimes is a good thing in relation to dispute resolution, but that has gone out. So this path of litigation and everything developed, and no one's wrong. That's the way society developed. So we're just bringing it back to a situation where people existed, and they still exist, whom you went to, and they came in first responders. And that's what we want to do. The first responder should be someone who can take you through that, through just bringing you together. That's good if you can sit together. But if you need someone to actually assist you, then you have a mediator. That's why the peacemaker mediator difference that I'm trying to create. So just bringing those people out. So all I'm saying is, go out, ask that question in your school, in schools, colleges, wherever. Do you know anyone who helps people resolve disputes? Let's just bring them into the circle. And you'll be so happy just listening to their experiences. When a child tells you that I helped this friend of mine, they had this issue, and they tell you exactly what they did, you know that they know everything about mediation. It's just that those words, they don't have those words. We don't need them to have the words. We want them to practice it. Why do we need them? Why do we need theory? For what? I mean, I give this example in relation to just walking. I mean, a child doesn't know which muscle of his, what is the name of that muscle? What is that bone? The child walks. That's what we want. We just people to do it. It's an experience. It's not a theoretical activity. But definitely we'll have our thoughts on that. Yes, Michelle. Yeah, Tina wants to say something. Yes, Tina. Or you want to say something? We'll
Yes.
come to you. Yeah.
Yes. I agree with everyone's sentiments. Mediation is an important tool, and obviously we need it more than ever now in this political climate and international unfortunate tragedy of wars and trying to have peacemakers intervene. But I wonder, my question to everyone is, are we waiting too late? I'm a big proponent of early dispute resolution. And we know that ABA, dispute resolution, has the EDR task force. There's all kinds of training out here, CPR. There's a lot of organizations that are focused on early dispute resolution. So I wondered what everyone's thought is in terms of, are we waiting too late to intervene?
What we're going to get their thoughts on that. First, let me get the thoughts on what I just told them about the World Mediation Circle. Then we'll get that thought. Yes, Michelle. Thoughts on the World Mediation Circle? Yes.
What Tina brought up, it was going to be a part of what I was going to discuss, so I hope to answer your question, Tina.
Yes.
I think what you're doing, Vikram, is great because first, it brings all of us together, and each one of us are different. We all have different experiences. And like Mary Lou discussed, she has that psychological perspective, which is great, I think, in mediation. I have a psychology background also, but a lot of times we don't look at people and say, why is this conflict, affecting them in this particular way? Why is their behavior this particular way when approaching or responding to a conflict? And so I think a sociological perspective, a psychological perspective is very important because even as mediators, we're all different and we all go through different conflicts ourselves. And when we think about how we approach things, it's like, okay, well, now I can understand why another person will approach it in this particular way. And if we're all together, we all talk to one another. And I've learned so much from you, Vikram, from John, from I see Nina, we was in school together, and from Aaron, Tina, I know she left. But I think we all bring something to the table. And if we're just a handful of people. So with you doing this from a worldwide perspective, first thing is we see that conflict is global. It's a never-ending story. So why can't we bring together people and say, this is how we can learn how to deal with conflict? And for Tina, I do think that we're starting late because this should be something that children are learning. When, as a child, have we said, this is a good conflict resolution skill that you should incorporate into your daily life? And I've never heard it, and when I look at the kids nowadays and I see all that they're doing, and it just seems like their choice on how they address conflict it just seems to be getting worse and worse. It just doesn't make sense to me, I guess, in my adult mind and my educated as far as that enhanced conflict resolution mind. But I think that this is something that we need to attack the kids first. And this is something that has to be in our in our dialect to children. If we're teaching our kids how to walk, part of their learning experience also has to be with understanding how to deal with conflict in an appropriate manner, granted to their age, because I can't expect a 5-year-old to think like a 15-year-old, but I think that it should also be that process where we're teaching our kids beyond college general education level. This should be incorporated, I think, in that first grade, second grade, third grade level as well.
But the little difference in what I'm saying is that we don't want to teach them anything. They know everything. We just have to bring it out and value those things which we feel are not valued today. Because you don't value someone helping someone resolve something. Where is that? Who talks about it? Does the school say that, no, this person is going to be valued? They say, no, debating competition. You won the debating competition. That's what's valued. So we have to change the way the schools look at it. But Erin, you'll also come in. You'll come in. We'll get you in. We'll have to be in the order of people, how they came in. So, yeah, you want to.
But, Vikram, how do we change?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll come to that. No, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. I know what I wanted. What it was that the order that people came in. I just want that little comment on what they thought of in relation to what I just said, and then we'll get into a little deeper discussion on the way I look at it, and then everyone how they look at it. Because based on my conversation with people around the world, how I've looked at that. So let's. But Michelle, school is where you're going to be working on. So the USA School Mediation Circle has to be launched. We have to. That also has to happen. Yes, Harshit. Your thoughts?
I agree with Michelle. Oh, sorry. Okay. I thought you said Aaron. I apologize.
No, Harshit,
Go ahead. You can.
No, you can't do that. I have to do that. No, Harshit.
I completely agree with what all have been said, and there's one thought that comes to my mind is that mediation is always presented as an alternative and not the appropriate way of dispute resolution, and that is why whenever there are people who goes into conflict, the first thing that comes to their mind is court and not mediation. So I think like that needs to be changed. And also there's one thing that I have noticed is most of the mediation institutions, uh, they would require a separate accreditation certificate from their own institution, and that reduces a lot of mediators going into the practice of mediation itself, because they have to get different accreditations and certifications instead of focusing on the clients or the general public. uh, yeah, that's my view.
Look, what we're doing is we're moving away from this concept of accreditation certifications, because there are certain things, certain human interaction, to even say that I can teach people that and I can certify it. I think we're demeaning, first of all, mediators and the process, because this is something which well, these are my thoughts. I mean, I criticize it, and a lot of people don't like me for that, and I'm okay with that because that's the way I look at it. But certain basic human interaction, I mean, women are here only, they understand. I won't understand it, they'll know better. But being a mother is not a taught concept. It's not a certified concept. You become a mother, and once the baby is in your hand, you do what you have to do. You know how to do it. It just happens to you. But when we say no, we will certify someone to be a mother, only then can you be a mother. I think that by itself, either you want that kind of a whole regime which says this is the way you have to bring your child up, this is what you have to do, this is how you have to talk to it, these are the stages of motherhood. I don't think we should do that. And this is again the other aspect of it is the colonization of mediation. The certified mediator is the mediator. This child or this person in a community that does it, that's not a mediator. We will tell you who a mediator is. We will tell you whom you have to sit with. That whole concept of the way legislation has gone, that also needs to be looked at. Luckily, the US maybe doesn't have that much, but countries are doing a lot in terms of controlling the whole way who's going to be a mediator. Countries have even say only lawyers. Turkey says only lawyers have to be mediators. So lots has happened on that end. We have to change all that, but that whole thing changes only when enough people come together who actually believe in the other way, that okay, this is a natural. Oh, so I'm sorry, Daniela, you came in, and the living room concept is if someone walks in, we have to say hi to the person. I'm really sorry, Daniela, but hi. We did a little introduction before this, so you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? I know, but for everyone else.
Oh yeah, so it's nice to see everyone. Thank you, Vikram, for doing this always. And hi, Nina. I talking about certifications. I actually just received a certificate in the mail today from a mediation course that I just did with Ken Cloak, and I'm actually very proud of the certificate because I learned so much. Not to dismiss what you were saying, Vikram, but you know, sometimes it's nice to get that acknowledgement that, okay, I learned something. And I'm all about lifelong learning. So I'm Daniela Brancaforte. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the ombuds for graduate and undergraduate students at Georgetown University. I'm an anthropologist by training, so that's what I have my degree in. And I, for some reason, am now in this role. I've been an ombuds for the last 3 years. Is there anything else?
You can't just say for some reason. I was going to give your example, and you've changed it to a certain extent with that certification. I've been saying that Daniela was made the ombuds of the Georgetown University because of the person she is. She did not have those qualifications that those people look for. She didn't have all that. It was just the person that she is, and that's what is important. And she's doing a great job there. I mean, the work that she's doing is amazing. So I just feel that, but okay, certification. Look, I'll tell you about certification. The point is that because the person that you are and all the experiences that you had and all the mindset that you had, you connected with what Ken was talking about, because theory people connect with when they have that inside them. So those experiences, your thought process, you connected with it. He's given all those words that he has. We don't have those words. He has the words to tell us about the process and everything. And that's important. But that's important for people who connect with it, because they have that in them. So I'm just bringing that out, the aspect that bring that out. So Tina, please, your thoughts on the World Mediation Circle, and yes, and lots more.
Did you say Tina?
I said Tina.
Oh, well, I love the concept of the mediation circle. I'm just looking at or thinking about outcome and what is we hope to achieve in terms of certification. I find that the market is so saturated with so many mediators that the certifications have been to stand out, to have credibility. I think particularly considering that minorities, women, we probably represent a smaller portion of peacemakers out here that are really hugely successful. So the reason why I see certification necessary is that you don't always see a brown person or a tan person or a woman in these key roles in positions and have an opportunity, very specific opportunities for success. That is why we have, well, hopefully we have so many, we'll get more opportunities out here to be able to excel in this field. But as of now, I would say I don't feel I have a choice but to get a certification. But I love your concept. I love the idea of your life experiences, that's cumulative and that should matter. But does it really when I try to get the cases that are higher dollar value? Are they going to be like, yeah, I get that you started mediating when you were a little kid. That life story, I don't think is going to be as impactful as I would like it to be in terms of someone hiring me to help to facilitate a process.
I think that the point is that, of course, this is a movement. I call it a revolution. The point of view starting from a point where those people who have that skill, who have that mindset, are identified and valued. So you start with that, so people get to know about these people first of all who are out there, and then they connect with the process also because of those people, because we want them to connect with the process also in the right way. So they connect with the process. Now you're developing a culture. So developing that culture and having the right people out there working together, then I think when people they're not looking, okay, I'm not going to talk about the situation in the US about color and everything. I mean, we don't get into that right now. We'll talk about it, but not right now. But those are issues which that come up. We will, I mean, I'm sure there are issues. Michelle has spoken about it in our conversation, and there are definitely issues, but we'll talk about that. But in general, the idea is that let's first put out people who have that skill, they're doing it, let people connect with them. And if people have a good user experience, as I call it, then they will connect with the process and then start using it. If they don't know someone, they've identified someone, be it in a school, be it in a community, wherever it is, they've identified someone. So we're going to put those people out. That's why I said, if you ask that question around, bring those people in. We'll have a little newsletter for every circle. Every school can have one. They can talk about it. The whole idea was that bring those people out. They talk about their experiences. And it's not just in school. It happens everywhere in organizations. There was someone there was a India Mediation Circle gathering, and this person came in. He was a CFO in an organization, and he said, "Oh, I've just become a mediator." And we had that conversation. He said, "Oh, I've been doing it all the time with whoever I met." So it's a process that you are doing, but you don't have that word for it. So we don't want them to have that word for it. Mediation is something that we are talking about as a word. We don't even have to use that word. They want to use whatever name for that process. Is up to them. We are not concerned with that. The point is the process, and people who are doing it, bring them out. First, get that community together. It is not an all-inclusive community. When Michelle says we're all different, Michelle, we're not all different. All of them, everyone's the same. We're all good human beings, wonderful people. That's all that matters. That's the community. That's the qualification to be part of it. Everything else will happen. Whether you have a mediator mindset or a peacemaker mindset, or you just believe people should sit together and resolve things, that'll come from it. But first, wonderful people, good energy coming in. That's all that matters. That's what I do it for. Everything else will happen when it has to happen, but that good energy has to come together. But look, this is just the launch. We'll have our gatherings. We'll discuss about it. But Erin wanted to come in, and I stopped her at that time. Erin, please, some thoughts.
I think it's amazing that Ken and Joan have built like an army of us who are really focused on helping people in their conflicts in a different way, that's not in a litigation way, that is not, that opens their minds to the possibility of communicating in a healthy manner. And I love the way that, all of us who learn from him, who talk with him, who learn from Joan, who talk with Joan, just have the ability to internalize and really look within and see who they are in conflict, who they are as a person. I know for me, I found out a lot about myself working with them. I was very proud to have that knowledge and to, be part of this movement that you and Ken and Joan are creating, and that all of us together are building together. And with that being said, Michelle hits it on the head. Kids are our future, and they're going to be very hurt and very needy and very traumatized from COVID and the years that they had not being able to socialize as small children. And as a substitute teacher and as a mother of 3, and as we talk about this situation, I'm going to be very honest with you and tell you this week alone at school has been awful in our high school. We've had fights that have broken out every single day this week. It's a gang situation, and knives have been found, loaded guns with bullets have been found. I'm terrified. I don't want to send my child to school. The parents here are terrified. And so the school district has a job, and we as parents have a job, and we're trying to find that middle ground. And I really feel like an app of some sort is going to be that middle ground so that we can get the communication that we need as parents. But my point being is that in order for us to build that healthy change, I agree with Vikram. We have to start with finding who the people are within our community who have the strength of either being a peacemaker or a mediator. And some people, most people that I know who are peacemakers in our community don't have credentials and don't need credentials. What they need is the opportunity to consider an in-depth look at the tools that they need to use, right? So an in-depth look at what is truly active listening. I'm doing it, but do I know exactly what it is? And can I build deeper onto that strength by learning what it is? And I feel like if we find the right people who have the right mindset, it's going to be really easy for them to soak in that knowledge and continue to be peacemakers, change makers, and mediators around the world. And I feel like it starts with peer mediation in school, teaching children to build upon their skills and bringing those skills out, and helping schools, teachers, educators communicate and have open, honest dialogue. I think a lot of our problems these days are we don't have open, honest dialogue, and there's so much trauma and things that have occurred within the United States for generations that we're all compacted and we all have something, right, that we need to work through. And I feel like we as peacemakers and change makers and mediators have such a beautiful opportunity to show people that conflict can be healthy. You can grow from it, you can learn from it, and you can come out really much better on the other side.
Yeah. I think the only little difference, Eric, and then I've discussed it earlier about this peer mediation thing. We're not going there to teach them anything. I mean, I'm not. And we actually, those experiences that people will talk about, that will teach them. But it's not teaching. It's actually hearing people's experiences, experiencing those people. If you can bring them into whatever issues they have, they bring them in, they experience it. For me, it's the experiencing part, learning for this kind of a I mean, this activities, this human interaction is about experiencing it. So, but we'll talk about this. I mean, we'll get, yes, Nina, sitting in some nice place in Switzerland is also in Zurich. So yes.
Years, I don't know. So I think your original question to us was regarding value of the world. Mediators around the world getting together, sharing information about states. I find that valuable for a completely different reason. You know, mediation has different uses and different backgrounds from country to country. For example, in Italy, where I grew up, mediation is required before you can actually go on to court. And I think that's actually a great idea. And the reason I think that's a great idea is because while we are mediators all here sharing information with each other, the population at large, the people we serve, do not know about mediation. Not really. I mean, I get inquiries on a daily basis for people who still regard me as a lawyer or asking me to help them. Whereas I'm thinking, okay, you don't understand what it is that a mediator does. So yes, we can have education for lawyers or try to market it that way, but I wished that worldwide we could somehow spread the message or share the message with the people who actually need our help, as this being a viable way to deal with conflict. And whether it is, and I'm just reiterating what Erin said and what Michelle said and Tina, whether it is starting early with education with children, teaching them how to resolve conflict among themselves, or either in classroom having mock mediations with young people, teaching them how to deal with conflict. Because to your point, Vikram, about how mothers don't need a certificate, I'm a mediator for dependency court cases, and these are parents who have actually lost the right to parent and have to regain it. There are times that I really wish these parents had a certificate because they need to learn.
You don't want that. You don't want that. Those exceptions are not going to be the ones which will.
Me included.
If you're going to say that all certified mediators are doing are the sort who are practicing in the way you want them to practice it, I'm telling you that you won't be happy with what's happening in terms of certifications also. So don't wish that.
Having that there are born mediators, as you said, it's both, you know, are natural in that as well. And then there are those who never learned the skill for whatever reason, because growing up, they grew up in a different environment, or they grew up in a different sort of conflict. And so they can learn these skills as well. It's not going to hurt, you know. And so I think both avenues are valid, you know, for whatever reason or what you're searching for. So I'm okay with both, having done both.
Well, at some point of time, yeah, we'll have a conversation about what is it that it takes to be a mediator, and what is that mindset all about? Where does it come from? Because something about everyone, whenever I say that, people talk about born mediators. I'm saying, is it something that happens because of your experiences? You evolve. All those things we'll discuss. I mean, is it a genetic aspect that develops as you go along? How those experiences change you? That's by itself will be a discussion. We'll do that. But the important part is that whenever the whole long-term idea is that, like I said, when dispute resolution is mentioned, court should not come in your mind. And when mediation is mentioned, court should not come in your mind. Everyone connects mediation and Italy and mandatory. We'll have to, if we can move away from that and we can actually put into place a situation where people are looking at mediation and they have a face for a mediator, that's when I'll be happy.
I wish that we could, as a group of mediators, have a better way of sharing this message or share what we do with the people who actually need, you know, and not just among mediators.
Absolutely. Right? That's exactly what the idea now is. Just get to the user. That's where we are. And not us getting to the user, only the user getting a mediator within themselves and coming to you when that hasn't worked. That's where that'll be the good long-term thing. So yes, Suzanne, something about your thoughts on what I really liked was that you nodded your head a number of times when I was saying things. So you're happy with what I'm saying. So I'm really happy about that. But now you have to express all those good things.
Yes. So my background is actually in community relations and community mediation. So many of the things you're saying are exactly what I've done for years, working within schools, working within communities, bringing leaders together for conversations that matter. And so my role has strictly been capacity building within the conflict resolution space. So, and that's whether it's domestic or internationally working overseas. So I feel like this is definitely in alignment with where my heart is and my skill set is. And I'm just happy to be here. So I also think that there's a branding issue, a marketing and branding issue with ADR, conflict resolution, etc., that kind of relegates us to a space that's a bit marginalized. And I love your focus on making it an everyday skill, democratizing it, and really helping us build that muscle. It's really a muscle that has atrophied. You know, we're in a new era of censorship, and so many dynamics have changed, and social media helps us kind of isolate ourselves from diverse opinions, thoughts, beliefs, etc. So I think every direction that I hear your conversation heading, I'm all in for, and that's really what I've been working towards.
Good. At least someone understands what I'm trying to put together, because the community mediation circle also has to be launched. So that's important. But we'll get Jeff in first. Jeff, please, thoughts.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have to talk quick because I have to drop off in 3 minutes for a client meeting. But I agree with everything that folks have said. I believe that we should drop the A from ADR. It's not the alternative. It is the majority of matters in the United States settle outside of litigation. Litigation is the alternative. And for that reason, years ago, I started including in contracts that I helped negotiate and things, mediation clauses, not arbitration clauses, but mediation first, as the mindset and the approach. But I agree with everybody. We have to start young, and whether it's teaching them or just drawing out natural abilities, but teaching young kids from the beginning about dispute resolution, peaceful dispute resolution. That's the solution for the future. Again, I have to drop off. I apologize to everybody for that, but I look forward to future meetings.
But you can't drop off immediately, Jeff. Whenever you use the word teaching, I have to come in immediately. I am saying experiencing. I won't say teaching, experiencing, and experiencing with people that are already doing it around them. Getting those people out, talking about it, maybe even experiencing it while they're doing it. Because this whole thing about confidentiality has been created, but a lot of these things are happening where that confidentiality is not an issue. It's been created around that. There are things in social settings which happen wherever they get that opportunity. We'll create those opportunities, but we'll get that. But thank you for coming in, and we'll see you. We'll fix up a time for the next one, and then I'll let you know.
Thanks, everyone. Have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend.
Daniela, you can't drop off without giving your thoughts.
I think a lot of my thoughts have also been expressed. I don't really know what else I can add, Vikram, tell you the truth right now. And I'm sorry, I also have a meeting at the top of the hour. But I am actually really looking forward to more of these circles. And, as an ombuds, I don't do formal mediations in any way. It's all informal. It's all voluntary, as most mediations are. And I just see it as another way of trying to resolve many of the disputes that I see, especially right now in higher education. As you can imagine, there are many people who are dealing with issues, concerns, conflict, and trying to figure out how to work with them so that there's more understanding. It's always, parties not understanding where they're coming from and their perspectives, and being very ensconced in their ideas and trying to get them unstuck, as I will use Ken Cloke's word because he uses that word of getting unstuck often, is really what I'm trying to do. So I appreciate you always, Vikram. Thank you for building community in this space, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yes, and let me tell everyone that we've had lots of discussion on the whole concept of ombuds and how they have such a large role to play, but mediation gets lost somewhere. That's why this whole organizational mediator concept that I want to put out there, because Daniela actually put out a report for Georgetown University as to what all work really happens, and largely it came out as conflict coaching. As I remember that report, largely it was conflict coaching, and mediation was one small part of it. So that again, that mediation and mediators got lost somewhere. But we need that to be highlighted. That's why it's a separate area of work. So thank you very much, Daniela, and we'll see you again. And the USA Organizational Mediation Circle, we have to launch that. So like I said, everyone has a role to play somewhere. So thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. Yes, Michelle. Michelle, you were saying something.
Yes, Vikram. First, I think that one thing that I wanted to make sure it's understood is when I say that we all are different, what I mean is we all have different experiences. If you listen to everybody, we all work in conflict resolution. You hear Erin talk about how she works with children, and then Suzanne, she works with children and within the community. I work within the community. If everything comes together as a whole, so it's not that we're all different, our experiences are all different. And so our approach to conflict is going to be different. And it's not that we need a certification. I understand that we all had that mindset from a child, probably, but conflict, not even as an alternative to dispute resolution, that was never in my mind, even as an alternative as a child, because that's not what I saw as a child. So if we incorporate, even with a certification, just like Daniela said, she got the certification and it made her feel good. This is something that brought out something in her. That's a positive part, just that word, because I think words matter. Even when we're talking about how to resolve conflict, she received this certification and it made her feel empowered. She was happy about it. If children were able to take something like a developmental course, something to develop a skill, a mindset that they probably have in them already, because clearly I had it in me. I just didn't know as a child. And as you know, my background was not one that understood how to handle conflict. And it makes me think about that nature versus nurture type of thing, what do we see? If we see people understanding and moving in a manner that supports conflict resolution, then maybe they'll behave, and Erin won't go through those things that she's going through right now, but I just want to make sure that it's clear that I know that we all have different experiences, and that's what makes us different, but we all come together collectively to say we want to look forward to changing things. You look at the politicians right now, all they do is argue. These politicians are supposed to be supporting the United States, since we're talking about the United States. They're supposed to be supporting the United States, people that are leading us, and they argue to get their position. I've never heard of or seen so much arguing, and it's just like, this is what our children are, that's what they're seeing. So what do we expect? So I think that when it comes down to developing this mindset, I want to focus on the word developing instead of saying get the certification, and help teach them. I want to develop something that they have in them, deep in themselves, and may see, and hear from one of us and say, okay, I want to change my behavior and mindset, and I don't want to look at conflict resolution as an alternative, this mindset as an alternative. I want this to be the first step. It's the automatic thing that I think of. You want to walk like a mediator, talk like a mediator. You want everything to be that of a mediator's mindset.
I think
Sorry,
Michelle, yeah. No, but I think Michelle, when you talk about the politicians, the way we have created politics, it's not them. They're doing a good job. They are doing what they feel is the way politics has to happen, divide and rule. So they're doing an excellent job. How can we even criticize them? They're excellent at what they do. But we don't have to let it go in that direction. Yeah, we don't have to let politics go in that direction. That's why mediators as leaders. That's why this whole space for people to come together. But who's not going to let you do it? I mean, look, for me, the advantage is I'm not funded by anyone. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. So, but if people have to do what they have to do, they finally get, I mean, in some way dependent on funding. And then organizations with their vested interest take you in a direction that they have to. So to create that space is not going to be easy. And why would anyone even let you do it? I mean, you're not doing a good thing for them, because you're coming into creating something which they've taken years to destroy. So you're trying to create something like that. So it's going to be a little difficult maybe for people. But look, I have done it. I just sit there, one old computer and one chair and a little Wi-Fi connection, and just go out and reach out and get those people in. It's just about getting the right people. I'm telling you, you'll be so happy. Maybe Suzanne will tell us, when you meet these children and you ask them to tell us about their experiences, and they talk about them actually helping someone resolve something in those unadulterated words that they use. They're not using theory. They're not using complex words. They're using such simple things, but they've told you everything about mediation, about the process, what they did. So it's really nice listening to that. So that's what we want to put out there. Those little experiences, giving that little positive thing to school children also, that yes, this is also something which is happening, which we don't know about, and bringing that out. And this is the same thing with communities and everywhere. So now everyone's given their thoughts. Please, whoever wants to come in, please. Hey, Mary, I don't know, Mary, are you going to yeah, Tina. Yeah, Tina, please.
So I love this community. It's been awesome experience to just share space with everyone that I get to meet. Vikram, and I think our kids are in real trouble. And what was described by Aaron is really frightening, but we know it can be even worse in some different areas. So I'm wondering, in terms of mediation, why there's so much resistance in trying to get mediation into the schools, and how do we move around that? How do we move past that? If we can't go through, what are some ways we can work to try to get more mediation programs in the schools?
Look, now whether this has to, yeah, what we have to look at is whether it's going to be a children driven thing, or it's going to be an administration driven thing, is going to be a teacher driven thing. That part of it we'll have to look. This is going to be something, it's a work in progress. We'll have to see what works. Are your school boards going to have resistance? What is it that they were looking at? I don't know. I mean, that's something which will come out. For me, the thing is that it might be simpler when you are saying you're not coming to teach them anything. I think it's much simpler, because if you're coming to teach them something, they want to know what you're coming to teach them. But we're not coming to teach them anything. We're coming there to ask these children, have you experienced someone helping you resolve something? That's maybe simple. I mean, you frame the questions. I mean, the question framing is up to you. So we're asking them that question. And when they talk about it, would you like to share your experience? So that's all we're doing, that we're just creating that space when people can come and share their experiences, talk about that nice friend of theirs who did this, and that friend gets identified, that friend you speak to, and people identify that person as the mediator. It's just a very informal kind of a setting where they are talking about among themselves. So first of all, we have to remove authority figures from it. The concept of an authority figure coming in any way creates a whole different way that people look at dispute resolution in general. So authority figure goes out. It is a children's circle. It's their process. It's them talking about it. They're identifying those people who are the peacemakers, mediators there. And I'm always happy when Suzanne nods. So maybe Suzanne, I shouldn't have to say anything. You'll say everything for me. But yeah. But Harshit had his hand up. So Harshit, yes.
I just wanted to say bye to everyone because I have a class. And I wanted to thank Michelle for sending me the link. And John, you have been guiding me throughout my journey here. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Harshit.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Lots of work to happen. Yeah. Yes, Erin.
You and I have talked a lot about Vikram, about AI. And I think that if we can reach young children in school age, like elementary school, with a fun app on mediation and like hitting their conflicts head on in the app and learning skills or developing on what they have already, listening to stories of other people, making it fun and interactive, but also a serious tool that helps conflict in the classroom, on the playground, with administrators, with teachers. And I feel like maybe if we gave them this opportunity to play some sort of game, you know, then they would become more interested in it and more invested in it and maybe build some tools. And I don't know, those are my thoughts. I've really been pondering this for a long time. It's not that we have a lot of resistance from a school board or from a group of educators. It's more of a question of what's the best approach to help and to develop these skills and to, you know, I agree with Michelle. If I had known that these skills were really hidden inside of me and I wasn't so afraid and scared and a different person before I learned about conflict resolution and about who I am in conflict resolution and how I can change my own ways in conflict resolution, I feel like I would be a very different person still today. And so with that opportunity to learn and grow, I have been able to help many people and myself and my family and my community. And I feel like if we can really catch these kiddos early and doing something that they already like to do, maybe they'll develop some skills to start talking to one another.
We don't have to reinvent the wheel kind of thing. Massimiliano he's already done this. So he's created a game, looked at, of course, various aspects of conflict resolution and the way games are played. So he's developed this. He's created it as a board game. I mean, this is how he's played it. But I said, well, look, we have to reach millions of children out there.
Yeah.
So it'll be a simple app. Definitely would have been a nice thing, but like I said, without funding, work has to happen. So we'll make a little PDF, and of course in various languages, which will go out to everyone. It gets circulated through WhatsApp or whatever, and it's a basic game. It's a step-by-step thing. Do this, do that, and that's it. So we have that available. I can send that to you. I'll send you. I mean, certain things I want to make it very simple. So certain language there is still for little older people. So I want to, that of course will be circulated, but we'll make a simpler one for the children also. So it's very basic. I think there what 12 steps kind of thing. So that's how I put it. They were actually the cards. I mean, I have these cards. It was supposed to be a board game, and I was calling it a card game, and the cards like this, which you have. So it's out there.
And I think that's really great. Those are all the great tools, but they're not tools that kids these days want to use. And as a sub, I can tell you, I brought in a bunch of board games to a middle school, and I sat down with them and said, "Hey guys, I'm throwing out your day today, and let's play some board games." And they were in 6th grade and 7th grade, and none of them wanted to play. None of them wanted to take those board games out. None of them wanted to play cards. None of them, they wanted to sit on their phones and chat. That is it.
Yeah, that's why it's going to come through their phone. For me, it's going to be to start with the PDF is all I can do to start with. It'll come in the PDF form if they want to use it. Otherwise, an app can also be done. We'll do an app. But Suzanne now has raised her hand, so we'll have lots of interesting things coming there. Yes, Suzanne.
Yeah, so I think the question of working with schools, with children, I think it's going to be nuanced per country and per culture. I have a lot of experience working in schools where there is conflict, gangs, discrimination, etc., and gaining entry to schools is complicated. School systems are very protective of their domain, understandably. And so how that approach happens matters. I am not surprised at, Aaron, what you said about the students at all. But I think maybe combining the game and approaching a school system that's having issues is going to really stack the deck in favor of some kind of adoption at the official level. So I just think that if you can present the skill building and outcome that children will receive from it, it requires sales, it requires advocacy, it requires also that confidence that comes from working with somebody who is an expert and authority, so that presence is welcome. So I think there's lots of things that go into it, but I'm excited to learn more about the game. But it's somebody who's done numerous capacity building programs with students in high school. I really focused on student engagement, student-led, student-driven engagement, and then student ownership. So a game might help them build skills. How can it help them change their school environment? How can it help them improve their lives and create a sense of ownership and leadership? And that's what resonated with the students I worked with. So maybe some further steps to kind of help better integrate that process. I found that, again, ownership, leadership, skill building is really what kept the students, when they realized they could impact their school environment, they were all in. And then also democratizing it so that all voices are heard and welcomed. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, what I'm looking at is it's a step-by-step concept. But the first thing, like I said, was to ask that one question and get those people to come together. So you create that little community. So it's not about the whole school at the same time. It's maybe one part of it. So few children get together, and when they have these nice conversations and they have some good thing coming out of it, other people want to join that. So the idea is, again, it should be student driven and that. But the other thing I was saying, Erin, was that why don't you just tell these people, because it's all about tech these days, tell them you have an issue, why don't you talk to ChatGPT about it? Just tell them that, nothing else. Just go there, ask ChatGPT to help you resolve it. Maybe they might be open to do that. If they're open to do everything on ChatGPT, maybe they'll be okay. Because I'm telling you, it actually does give some very interesting things out there. So you can ask them to do that. But Tina was going to say something. Yes, Tina.
Thank you. I do appreciate this conversation. So the Ukrainian Academy of Mediation also has developed a game specifically to help children who are youngest victims of war. And maybe what's going on, what's happening now, the level of severity, we need to look at. I would love to look at what that game entails, and ownership, and having students have a voice, because I think you don't have power when you're a child. So, and then we have the capacity inclusive of technology, because that's where kids typically spend all of their time now, is on the phone, disengaged from real conversations. Like, I'm not sure if they probably would text message in the house, in the home they're in, their siblings. I don't know that they are communicators anymore. So what do you think we can do in terms of psychological safety and mediation? Because I keep going back to emotional intelligence development earlier. They don't seem to have the tools to cope, the coping mechanism to deal with conflict in a healthy way. So along with mediation, those tools, I feel like there's more tools that are missing because they don't self-regulate. I was taught they self-regulate when I was a little kid. And I grew up in very difficult circumstances, but I was taught empathy. I was taught to self-regulate. I learned that really, really young from my mom, and that has helped guide me in life. I learned to pause before I act. So I'm wondering if there are other tools that has to be incorporated in this mediation process so that we can make sure they're better prepared. Maybe they need to learn Kilman's modes of conflict earlier at the youngest stage, so that they know that, hey, I can walk away and that's okay. I don't have to attend this argument or this fight. I mean, to be thinking people, activate their thinking part of their brain when they get in conflict, and then you have those mediation tools.
What we do is, Tina, is that we'll launch the USA School Mediation Circle, and then we'll focus on this part because there's lots which has to be discussed on this, and we'll get more thoughts into this. So definitely, because this is one part. Look, the thing is that the World Mediation Circle, for that, this is one part of it. So school is one part of it, but that's not where everything's going to happen. But it's a very important place where things have to happen. But what gets, but it has to be like that's why I took you through the various circles, because that's plant seeds in all of those things. So, but Mary was wanting to say something. Yes, Mary. Now, I don't know whether Ken wants to say something or Mary wants to say something. The hand seems to be the same. You have to change the hand for each of you.
We've been together many years, so we're very respectful of each other. So, he will speak up or I will speak up, whatever. I just wanted to say what a productive discussion this is, and we're going to have to leave pretty soon. But my belief is that we're going to need to approach it. And I think, Vikram, you keep touching on it, and I think that's a piece that draws me into it. I think the focus on schools and education is very vital. I believe definitely young people need to develop some of those skills and some of that psychological mindedness. I think they need to be able to do that. And Tina, I'm so glad your mother gave you that gift, because that was so important. I think we also need to look at a lot of different levels, because it's good to invest in our children, but the world's on fire. So we're going to need to be doing some things at some other levels as well. But it was really interesting, because some of the things that have been said about what children need to know, and maybe, as you said, Vikram, what children need to remember, are things that I cover when I do advanced mediation training. And I do advanced mediation training, even though we shouldn't have to do it, with a lot of attorneys and judges. And I've done a lot of work in Ukraine. I've been to Ukraine twice. Just a month ago, did a large training with Ukrainian judges on mediation. A lot of the things that you're saying are things that we're talking about with them too, which is learning how to listen to each other. Pause. How do you listen to somebody else? What did they say? Well, as a judge, I've got to be, I said, and I understand that, and hold on to that, because that's so important. But I'm wondering what they say, how that affected you. Well, I'm not supposed to be affected by anything. I said, oh, but we're human, so we are affected. So what was that like? And then we start getting back to what's important. And some of those key core skills that I've heard so many good things about today that are important in the classrooms are also things that I think that are important at every level. And I'm glad, Vikram, that you're looking at kind of a lot of different things involved in this, because it's critical that we start working in our school systems, because those are not safe places right now for many people. And certainly for a lot of parents, they don't feel it's a safe place. But what's also important is that we look at the many different ways we can intervene with each other and at different levels in our communities. And I was so glad to see that several of you, Michelle, you've done community work. Suzanne, you've done community work, that several of you have done that, because that's equally important. Just as the way we reach out to other countries and the work we do with them and helping them be able to navigate things, all of those things, you know, we're not teaching totally different skills. We do it at different levels because of people's developmental level and because of how connected, or how, as our friend Ken Cloak says, how stuck we've gotten. And the older we get, the more stuck we can become. But I think all of those are important. And Vikram, your vision for this really encompasses all of those things. And I regret we can't stay longer, but I certainly look forward being involved, and I'm very humble to have been asked to be a part of this.
Thank you for coming in, but you can't leave right now. First, Nina has to say bye to us, then I have to have something to say on what you said. But Nina, we just wanted to say bye. Okay, Nina,
Yes.
thank you. Yep.
Hi, everyone, and this was a pleasure to share ideas. I look forward to it.
And we have going to fix up a day for the next every month. I don't know whether Friday is a good day, but normally what I do is the day that we have the launch, like today is what, this is the third Friday of the month. So want to keep it on the third Friday of every month, we can do that at the same time at 8 a.m. Pacific time, if that's okay. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So thank you for coming, Nina. But John also wants to know, but John, 1 second. But let me just point out one thing. When I said, whose hand is it, whether it's Mary's or Ken's? Actually, there was one webinar where both of them were sitting together. And someone said, I'm not comfortable with both of you sitting on the same screen. And Ken went into another place. He logged in from another computer. And then when there was an event that they came for, what I did, I think the symposium, first symposium that I did, Ken was in another room. I said, please bring Ken right here. Both of them should be sitting together. So that was a little, yeah, I found that a little funny the way that person told you, why are you both of you sitting together? I don't like you nodding to each other like that, sitting next to each other. That was funny, actually. No, but Mary,
yeah, those things always tell us more about the people
yes.
than they do about us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. If it made her uncomfortable, then Ken was going to move to another place. It's just I think we were presenting at one of your symposiums, and she said, I just can't stand the fact.
There was another one. No, not my symposium. I would never do that.
It wasn't yours. It was somebody else's.
Mine, I said you come together, because in my event you were in separate
Yours,
rooms.
you're fine. Yeah, you don't have that issue. But somebody else said, I can't stand the two of you sitting together. And I thought, he asked today, he said, can we sit together? I said, I think it'll be okay. If not, somebody will say it and we can move. It's all right. But and it's just accepting that and not making that a big deal and then moving on. But everybody has issues because of their experiences, because of the way they've lived their lives. And it's accepting them where they are and moving on. And then eventually with time, they will, like we all do, realize, well, that isn't such a big issue after all. But we're human, so it's okay.
Yeah. No, but the important thing about one minute. No, thank you for coming. All I was saying was, whenever the word training happens, all your words of wisdom should be available for everyone. So this whole concept of trainings happening in closed spaces, people who've had that much of an experience in working in this area, when they do it in closed spaces, I have a bit of an issue with that. So please open it up for everyone. Let's record whatever you have in relation to what training or anything. Let's just record and let it be available to everyone. The issue being that, yes, it's a livelihood for people. Training is a livelihood for people. So how can we change that when the community can come together and pay people for being who they are, which is mediators? And if that can happen, so that training is not where money comes from. Training should be available. Like for Ken also, why did I want everything to be out there for everyone to benefit from? so that those words of wisdom should not get lost with a few people. It's not like, I don't know how many people sit into his training, maybe 10, 12, 14, 16 people benefiting from it. I didn't want that. So that I think we need to also look at how we can open this out for everyone. So community mediation circle also we're going to be launching. All that is going to happen. So thank you very much for coming. And the next one happens on the third Friday of the next month. Before that, whatever other circles are being launched, we'll keep you informed. You've already filled the form, so I know Ken has filled the form, so you'll get an update. Mary's also filled it. Anyone else, please fill that. The link is on the website so that you get that information. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye. But John, you also want to say bye? What's?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to say so long. It's a pleasure joining everyone today. I enjoyed our conversation and look forward to continue.
Yeah, great. So we'll see you next month for sure. And before that, if there's something that comes up, the 24th we have that World Mediation Circle gathering. So please come in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Yes, Michelle, some thoughts? Any thoughts? Anything? I'm sure there are more thoughts than what we have discussed.
Yeah, I was waving goodbye. I wasn't raising my hand.
But we don't want you to say bye. We want you to stay and give your thoughts.
No. I wasn't saying goodbye. I was saying bye to John.
Oh.
I think that everybody just has so many positive things to say in regards to community mediation, and that's what you're building, Vikram. You're building a community. Albeit it's a virtual community, but you are letting us know the importance of that word community and incorporating the word mediation into it. The one thing that is sticking in my mind for some reason is when Aaron and you all were talking about how to have, Aaron was saying the games, in speech, you talk about, well, really not even just in speech, it's probably the majority of my classes, your audience. And so when you're speaking, you have to be able to address your audience, in a manner that they can understand. So depending on the children, the young adults, we all sit there and we have our phone in our hand. And like you said, Vikram, you have homes that or maybe Tina said it, where people are communicating on their phone to someone in the opposite room, and this is what it is now. We have silent homes. We have classrooms that are silent only for that period of time, except to address when they're addressing a conflict, because that's when you hear the noise. Conflict is loud. Peace is quiet, so. But if we could speak the language of people right now, and I think that is through the app, like you were saying, with a game, we can't tell them, hey, we're teaching you conflict resolution skills. We can't teach that. These are things that they need to be interested in, and things that they have to say, okay, I want to engage and learn and develop these things that may or may not be in me. But I should say that are in everybody, because I don't want to take away something that should be, I should respectfully say this could be in that person, because someone could have said that about me at a young age. So we should work towards talking the language and listening, and definitely having a sense of empathy. But from my experience, even talking to someone and they're saying, yes, I understand, telling me the words that would display that they have empathy, it wouldn't have resonated with me, because even as a child or young adult, my feeling was, you don't know what I'm going through. How can you tell me that you understand? I personally, I don't like filler words. Like, is kind of like the word, to me, a filler word is the same as a person saying to me, I understand. And so I think that when we look at the audience and we take in, okay, this may not be something that is productive to help develop these skills in this person or persons, because if you go into communities, it can be tumultuous. It's, you're going to have a whole lot of different emotions, different people. And you even mentioned gang situation, Aaron, but if you look at the gangs and the reason why, how they came together, it's a family. and they're missing something. Something is happening, but it's a family. And so part of mediation for me is deeper. You know, when we talk about those conflict resolution skills, I go deeper into saying, you know, I don't want to just settle and say, hey, this is a court situation, a court conversation. We need to pick mediation before litigation. No, I want to pick conflict resolution skills before anything else. I want that to be my very first go-to before anything else. And that should be our first step. When we walk, when we talk, when everything that we do, I think that that's something that we all need to develop. Vikram, I think that you already know that I just appreciate everything that you do. You just bring out the best in so many different people in this positive conversations.
Look, the best that you've brought out is everything else. Everything that you said was important, but what I liked was conflict is loud, peace is silent. So what I'm thinking is the catch line is going to be bringing out the sounds of silence. I think
There you go.
that sounds interesting.
I like that. And ChatGPT,
And which is what, yeah,
can do that for you.
no, but this is really what I want to do, because all this is happening. It's out there. People are helping people resolve things. Things are being resolved. If you think all the conflicts in the world are now unresolved, or things, it doesn't happen, obviously, they are being resolved because there's too many things which happen in people's lives and everything. So there are some people are helping people do things, but they never get identified. That whole activity doesn't even get spoken about. Where does a school have this opportunity? Come tell us about how you helped someone. I don't know whether it happens. I'm sure, I don't think so, but I've been out of school for some time. So,
I haven't, I don't remember, I don't remember it, you know, but for me, I'm thinking, would I have even engaged? I remember programs like DARE, and it was like the drug, you know, awareness programs. And I remember paying attention to that, you know, but they talked to us, they spoke a language, not that everybody was on drugs, you know, this was like middle school and things like that, but they did it in a manner that was effective to make you want to listen. And you said, oh my goodness, that's scary. I'm not into drink. It was drinking and driving. And I say, I don't want to do that. So it just made sense. We need to do things like that. And I don't know where that conflict is loud but that works. And I think that Tina and Aaron, you know, from yesterday on my page that I posted, I'm going to comment. I don't even want to say it's a victim, but I experienced for the second time while living in Los Angeles, because as you all know, I'm Baltimore and I'm Los Angeles. I'm back and forth. And my second experience in Los Angeles, something I've never experienced in my life, in my face, was I was called the N-word with the ER on the end. And when you have the ER on the end, it's racism, it's negative. And well, with the F word first. And this was a young person. This was a person that was the age of my children. And I literally, I did nothing. I'm just driving back to the house, and this young man in his brand new Tesla, he came and cut me off, and I swerved my car, and you know, just to get away from hitting him. And then once it was all done, I just sat. I didn't even do anything. And this young man rolls his window down and yelled at me twice, effing N-word, ER on the end. And I was just like, I know I'm not hearing what I think I'm hearing, but then he said it again. Now, the thing is, the old me, I would have engaged. Even the new me would have could engage, you know, but I was just at peace. I literally was just sitting. And I think that that's where peace was silent. Peace was so quiet because I just sat there. And that conflict was coming from his vehicle, and it was so loud. But I sat there, and eventually he rolled his window up, you know, but when he drove away, and when I wasn't loud with him, what did he take from that? Did he take what he did was maniacal, or did he take that it was wrong, or did he feel good about saying that negative racist word to a person who did nothing to him. But then you think about that psychological perspective and you say, why did he do that? What was bothering him so much that he did that? And his first words were racist. Instead, he could have been rushing to cut me off to get home to his mom having a heart attack. But why was his first words racist? So these are the things where I think about where we need to help develop conflict resolution skills and just proper ways of talking to people, because words matter. And it did affect me. I guess it affected me because I took and wrote it down. And I guess that was my way of saying, of being peacefully loud. I wanted to gather other people's perspective and other views and say, have you experienced this? Because I know my mom, you know, she may have had somebody, but she's in the 50s. But I'm like, I've never had anyone say in my face that word behind my back, you know, or gave me the attitude in regards to it, but the boldness to say it in my face and not think about the consequences that can come behind it. Because I could have had a gun in my car, you know, he gave me enough time to jump out my car and jump in his car. So it's just like the consequences. And I just wish that we could all come together as conflict resolution practitioners. You know, we are experts in this field, and we have to find a way. I feel we have to, as the peacemakers, we walk this behavior. This is something that we have to see. We have to let those loud people see silence is okay. Because otherwise, you know, we both could have been loud, and it could have been something where conflict resolution wouldn't have been able to be available to one of us.
You've given us a lot to discuss right now, Michelle. We are going to discuss it, but we have to say bye to Suzanne first. Suzanne wants to leave. And she has some nice things before she wants to leave. So all the nice things that you want to say, please say all of them, because we have to counter all the negatives that Michelle has experienced. She also should know there are nice people, nice things happening out there. So please, all the nice things. And then, yeah.
We are the nice thing, right? These conversations are the nice thing. And believe it or not, there's more of us than them. So don't ever forget that. Vikram, thank you so much for hosting, facilitating, and corralling and your efforts. I would love to connect with you a little bit more and learn more. Yeah. But thank you, Tina, so much for inviting me. Beautiful to see your face, and I will be back. So thank you so much.
No, but Suzanne, what you just said was that they're more of us than them. The problem is you are silent, and that's what we have to do. We have to bring out those those sounds of silence. Yeah. That is what we need to do, and that's what's getting lost there.
School, yeah, in grade school, there was this lady that she said, "Bring the noise. You need to bring the noise of mediation. Bring the noise and make that the louder voice." But there's different ways to do that. It's just that everything's figure outable.
Yeah, we'll have that discussion. I think you need to leave now. That's what the issue is. So we'll see you, and we fix up the time. You know, the next month, third Friday of the month, same time. Yep. And before that, community, school, all that we'll do. So thank you for coming, Suzanne. Really nice meeting you. A pleasure. We'll see you soon. And Erin has had her hand up for quite some. Must be tired now. Erin, your hand must be really tired.
So tired.
Should I lower it?
First, yes, please. So first, Michelle, I'm really sorry that you had to go through that. You are a beautiful human, and there's no reason for the ugliness that we have in this world. I don't understand it, but I hope one day we can get a hold of it and really be the change agents who face it head on and say it's absolutely got to stop. It's not okay. And so with that being said, I was going to say so much more, but I just wanted to say to you, Michelle, after sharing, and thank you for sharing. I know that must be really hard. My daughter is 17 and she goes to the high school here. And we have this problem here locally where children think it's okay to say this word and to, it's a funny word. It's a, word that gets written places, that gets thrown around, that gets said way too much and way too often. And children don't understand, I believe, the seriousness and the consequences of those actions. I believe they learn it from their families, right? And when they learn it from their families, they think it's okay. And it's absolutely not. So we have a job, a duty to stand up and be those noisemakers and hit the nail on the head in the conversation head on, instead of avoiding the conversation, tiptoeing around the conversation, and not having open conversation. My daughter, walking with her favorite teacher at the high school, who is white, the teacher sees a group of Hispanic and, I believe, white kids. It doesn't really matter, but a group of boys. And she tells them, hey, get to class. And they turn around and they say to her, what did you just say to me, you effing N-word? Right? And so the teacher turns around and she's like, what did you just say to me? And they said, oh, nothing. And she said, that's right. That's not how we speak to each other, and you need to get to class. But that kind of stuff happens on a daily. And I think until people in family units stop using the word, stop talking about people differently and treating people differently, start accepting differences, start accepting that we're all human and we all are, beautiful, all of us, it's never going to change. And then before you got onto that topic, I wanted to say, I think mediators should go be school assembly, speakers in high school, in elementary schools. And I think we should go and have fun conversations and be like, you know what? I knew this person, they were walking through, and maybe even have kids demonstrating with you on stage, walking through those mock situations where you're having real life situations that these kids are facing every day on the stage, and having different alternatives to how they approach it, really giving them that visual, providing them with those tools, and talking about it maybe in an assembly will be in a, like, for example, the yo-yo assembly just hit, right? My kids have not been able to stop talking about the dang yo-yo for a while now because of the yo-yo assembly. They came, they sold a bunch of yo-yos, they got them all fired up about it. They left. If that person were to stick around and come every couple of months to keep them fired up about it and keep teaching about it, maybe they would continue those lessons on being a yo-yo master one day, right? Same concept for mediation.
No, but yeah, Erin, you're coming to what I'm saying. Look, finally, no, I'm not going to say you are going to come to what I'm saying, but I think you're coming there. The point is exactly talking about these situations, but children talking about their own situations, that I helped so and so. This was what their issue was. Within that school itself, you talking about the assembly. There should be some time given for children to come and talk about all the good things they did in terms of helping someone resolve something. This was the issue, this was their fight, or whatever word they want to use, whatever it was, a relationship issue, it could be a fight, it could be misunderstanding, whatever. Okay, this was it, and this is how I went about it, and this is what the end result was, this is what happened. And the people who benefited, they come and talk about it, how it was, this person did this, they did that, so that everything about mediation and conflict resolution is being discussed by them in their own words. The problem is that when you bring someone else to do something, it seems to be some external thing which happens. We don't do it, someone else does it. And that person is going to talk to us about how we should do it. I don't want that to happen. I never want that to happen, because it's never going to seep in. It's going to seep in when someone whom they know right there talks about it in their own language, in the words.
I agree with you. I'm not trying to say that we have to give them the tool, like a diagram, like this is how you handle it. I feel like we need to provoke thoughts within them on how they would handle it themselves with the right tools.
Yeah, they've handled it. I'm saying they've handled it. Those things, no, not all of them. Not all of them. The ones who've handled it, let that come out at least. That's a starting point. We'll reach where you were talking about them getting about experiences which have happened beyond what their world is. But in that world, at least, let's start with that. because in that world they will connect with it, because it was some person that they know standing there, sitting there, whom they have seen around, and that conduct of that person they have seen. So they will then in some way trust that person also, and that's what they want. I want them to do, bring that person in. When next time they have an issue, they have a communication channel available. That circle is about that, so they have this person available, they have this person to bring in, and those people who believe that they should be looking at it, resolving things like that, start coming together in that community, and that community will have good things to do within that school. Or, I mean, we're talking about school, but the same thing applies to colleges, same thing applies to communities, organizations. There's nothing different. The same thing will happen there. So that's, I mean, a thought, yeah, your thought, every thought we'll take up for the school mediation circle. When we do the gathering there, we'll talk about that, because lots of thoughts from everywhere we have to bring in there. But Tina has been waiting again. Don't your hands get tired?
Thank you. I just want to reach out to Michelle and say I'm so sorry. I really am, that you experienced this ugliness. As of late, we've been hearing nothing but words be weaponized against everyone. At any time, you can expect to be attacked, and that's the culture that's been growing in sentiment to the point where we don't see each other anymore as human beings, something of value. And I'm just so sorry that that happened to you. And I've experienced it as well. And it's again, another form of violence. And that's what we're dealing with in this culture. So I was just listening, taking in that how you handled yourself, that your emotional intelligence is high. That person, not so much, because they had to dig in. We always resort back to what we know. And they had to dig in and pull out the most hurtful word that they could think of, and then use that against you, weaponize that against you to diminish you as a human being. And we know it's not right, but it happens every day somewhere in our country or world that we live in now. So I also wanted to thank you, Vikram, for all the hard work you do. I support this process so much. I lean towards teaching because there is that need, but I think we usually meet resistance because I've tried teaching, I've tried peer mediation in schools and was met with the resistance, not from the kids, because they just wanted to meet them at their level and let them speak their mind. But with an authority figure in the room, that process was shut down because the kids let me know that the grown-ups don't seem to listen very well. And that was my takeaway of them. I felt shut down in their actions as an adult, and I really just couldn't believe it. I mean, I felt like everything, instead of trying to encourage, that they put a stop to that conversation, silence, and how kids must feel having no voice, because I know I felt diminished in my capacity as an adult, as this subtlety of let's change that conversation, or let's not talk about that. So I think if we can build mediation circle clubs in schools, I really believe that there's going to definitely have to be a technology component from this conversation. But I also I see this as a coalition, building a network, a cohesive network of mediators, peacemakers from all over, the world, and then a gathering place that's safe, because psychological safety is so important in any setting, that we build, that we work. And I've been reaching out to try to accomplish this goal of bringing people in, getting to the schools. But I think I look at this as almost being like a think tank, even a place where we can all gather and talk about, so what you've done is quite brilliant and necessary. But as I see the resistance, I understand the concept, the importance of not coming in to teach, but to provide space for others to tell us what, if they've experienced mediation, what it looked like. And then that also will provide opportunity that if they have not experienced mediation or any type of intervention in terms of conflict they're facing in their schools, like what you're describing, Erin, is awful. What you described was, and that's day to day. And we know there's some areas in the United States where the kids walking to school is one of the most dangerous things they could be doing, but they still walk to school and try to learn. But I'm worried about the conditions that kids are surviving under. I'm worried about the fact that they have no psychological safety. Self-regulation, if you're in fight or flight mode, which I grew up with, which is why my mom focused so much on trying to get me tools I needed, because I was seeing adult problems. And she recognized that early on, that I had to get some tools to help me to cope, better cope. We have to help our kids, because it's things are so out of control right now. I'm just really even I feel overwhelmed. So I can't imagine how a young person feels just trying to survive and not have psychological safety of any aspect in their life. So yeah, I really commend you, Vikram, for this hard work. I don't know what time it is right now, but I know it's getting late.
It's 10, yeah, it's 10:30. No, but I think one important thing that comes out from what Michelle said is that it is a matter of spiritual development. You might say emotional intelligence and everything. For me, it's spiritual development, and that spiritual development is what hasn't happened. And I'm not saying bringing in spiritual gurus to develop that, but it is from either from experiencing things yourself, or maybe connecting to something that you can relate to, something there that people, like I said, this is why I want people to share those experiences, because let that come out from there. However it has to happen, that is one important part. And there's so much poison inside people. For what reason? I mean, I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to blame them for what that. We don't know. So the social surroundings, it's the family situations, anything. It could be anything. I mean, we really don't know, because what triggers of things in people we also don't know, but it's something which is all lying there. So how does that change? I mean, how that development happens, because Michelle herself has evolved so much. I mean, if you look back, Michelle, the person you were 30 years back and what you are today is a different person. So evolution has happened. And a lot of people, I think that evolution doesn't happen. They get stuck in what they are. So to move them out, I think that's what the important part is. So that really needs to be looked at. And the other role of mediators and the mediation circle is, like you said, to build communities. And that's what we're doing. We just want to build communities, because sometimes a sense of ownership to a community also changes the way you react to things. Because today there is no sense of ownership to any community. You are just there as an individual, and you think you can do what you want. But social pressure sometimes is a good thing. So making them feel part of a community itself is also, for me, an important part. So that's why building that community. So that's why these circles at the smallest level, at the localist level, to the national, to the global. I mean, it's a progress. I mean, take it as it comes. I mean, develop it. But main thing is that let's bring good people together. It's not about everyone. I'm not the most inclusive person in the world. I don't like supremacists of any kind. I don't want any supremacists as part of this, because I also
Yeah.
want to, this space that I have to, first of all, yes, I have to enjoy this at 10:30 at night. I don't feel tired, is because we have this good energy here and we have this good conversation. So that has to stay. I'm not here to change the entire world or bring everyone together, for sure. And I want everyone, all of you also, it's okay not to include everyone sometimes it takes time for them to come in. They'll come in when they have to come in, but we are not going to be spiritual gurus and we think, no, we can reform people and we can change people. Let them change, maybe by listening to good conversations, maybe by hearing about good experiences. Let them do that, because I mean, say, just the fact what Michelle just told us, just that reaction itself, let people, someone listens to it and then looks at themselves, and maybe they might just change. I mean, if you say you're learning from your mother, it's not because she went and sat and told you some things. You learned because you saw her dealing with people in a certain way, talking in a certain way, and that's what our learning comes from. So let people, they don't have that today. They don't see good people sitting together having good conversations and talking about things in an objective manner. Where who's going to create that space? That is my biggest issue. Who benefits from it? Up till people don't benefit from something, they don't create it. So that is where, okay, and again, not to blame anyone, because we are living in a materialistic world. So everything is about how do I make money out of it. So I'm not going to blame anyone out of it, but I'm just saying those spaces are not being created, and all of you, because of the way you people are, the kind of people you are, you need to be out there and creating those spaces. Yeah. That's my initial thought. This is initial thought, okay? You might, this is just the launch. Gatherings have to
Yes,
happen.
great.
So, and Erin, I was waiting to
Yes.
say something. Erin's been wanting to say something. Yes, Erin, something?
Mhm.
Yes.
No, I was just
That's
listening.
that's really nice. When people have nothing to say, then things are going well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Okay, so now what we know is that we're going to meet on the third Friday of the month. But Fridays are good days. I mean, there's not an issue with Fridays, no? Friday's okay.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Michelle, it's
Oh,
not too early for you. It's not too early for you.
no, it's good for me.
Because we also can have two gatherings. We can have one in early morning Pacific time, and we can also do one in the evening Pacific time. We can also do that, because that's, I mean, but that'll be late in the evening. If that's also an option.
This is fine. I know it's
Okay.
late for you though, right?
Yeah, so
It's
that's how I was looking at it, was we can have one gathering in my morning. So that doesn't get too late for me, but this is perfect. So this time on the third Wednesday, but also at the same time, please look at the launch of the USA School Mediation Circle, Community Mediation Circle, Organizational Mediation Circle. We have to also launch those and bring people in. First of all, people who are practicing in that area, yes, but then open it out to those people who are practicing it in an informal way. I mean, in the sense who are already doing it. So let's bring them. And when you hear those people talk about what they're doing, I'm saying all of us will be happy that yes, they are doing. They don't need to be taught, but they're actually doing something which we want everyone to do.
So
right.
I have a question in terms of, we're not teaching anything, which I think is a wonderful way to promote, because you don't have to worry about if there's that resistance that I spoke of, that I've experienced. What do you want this circle? It's pretty early on, but the question I want to embed in your mind is, when you describe the process, it's a restorative process. I hear value. I hear the values that you're sharing. And so I tend to want there to be some consistency in terms of what people understand and expect, or is this going to be fluid and circles can be whatever the end user wants it to be? Or do you really want a common theme of peace, or a common theme of what is, as it evolves, and it is going to continue to evolve, how would you define that scope of the circle process?
Yeah.
What's it going to look like, so that it doesn't so that it's recognizable. Because if it's recognizable, you can replicate easier than if one person does it this way, that way, if there's just like a common theme.
Look,
Just something to think about. You don't have to answer it
No,
now.
I'm going to answer as much as I can. First of all, if you've seen, I've put out a very basic aspect on my website because I don't want to document it in a manner. Look, I have my thoughts and I want to put them out every time we meet, and not put it out into a document as if this is what we are doing, because I also don't know what we are doing. I'm opening something out for, like you said, it's a fluid thing. It's going to be taken by each of you in the way that you want to take it. My important thing is who's taking it forward. We have to bring the right people, those, like I said, those good human beings, those wonderful people out there who have that kind of a mindset. That's the first part. When those good people want to do good things, it will take a good direction. I have no doubt about that. Whether people understand it or not understand it, they take their time, they have resistance, they block things, they don't want you to do good things. That will always happen. There are lots of people with, like, again, that where those vested interests might be there. That I mean, we're not going to look at it from a negative perspective, but that might happen. That's okay. But what we are doing is, it's a step by step. For me, the process is that one question that I tell everyone to ask people, which is, whatever way you want to send it out, through going into a school and asking those children, or the children around you asking them and telling them to ask other people, sending it out in a WhatsApp message or in an email or whatever. But that one question, and frame it the way you want. That's why I never put it out as this is the question you have to ask. Frame it the way you like it. The point is, what are we asking people to tell us? All those people who help people resolve their fights, conflicts, disagreements, misunderstandings, miscommunication. That's all we need to start with. Because when we bring these people together, because for me, it's mediation circle, because peace circles happen. But for me, that whole concept of resolving something with the assistance of someone else is the important aspect of these circles. Because everything else of telling everyone sit together and be good human beings and you have to live peacefully. Very nice. It's been happening. Those things will happen. And again, we have to the other extreme spiritual gurus who will tell you that be good human beings and everything. So those discourses will happen. We are not here to give you any discourse. We don't want to do anything. We want to show you that this happens. We want you to experience it. One, you're telling us about your experience that you already have and bringing those people out, giving those people who are practicing as mediators without using the word mediators, they're practicing it, bringing them out to be available to the larger community, because they're doing it in closed spaces. Who knows about it? Because Michelle helped her friends resolve something, only Michelle and her friends know. No one else knows that. So
But what about activation? Because we know that right now children are in trouble. They're really in trouble. After listening to this conversation, and I know there's a whole lot worse, but in terms of activation, self-actualization, what comes next? Like, what we do the work, we spread the word, we connect,
bring them in
globally.
And look,
but what is that next step? What is that going to look like in terms of, because what I heard today is something has to be done, but in terms of activation, how do we can talk, and I think that is very, very important to share our thoughts and come together as a cohesive, collective network of peacemakers, mediators.
What I'm saying, Tina,
what do we do? How do we activate?
No, what I'm saying is that normally what happens is that whenever you're looking at something, you think that I want to suddenly change the entire world like this. All I'm saying is small steps, one school, just one school, just one child that you know, forget everyone else, just one child that you know. Start with that child and ask them that question and tell them to ask their friends. That's just one child. And whatever names you get, because now problem is dealing with children, how much can you interact with them, whether you're allowed to interact with them, their parents like it, don't like it, those issues that you might face. So you'll have to take their parents into the, because you are starting with children. We're talking about children, but I'm saying this is not limited to children. This is going to be sent out to everyone that you know. So in those cases where they're adults, maybe that issue you might not face. But for the children part of it, bring the parents into it also. I mean, that's not a problem. But the point is, what are you telling the parents? If your child, we've been told, helps their friends resolve something, and we want to highlight this and tell other children about it, I don't think a parent will have a problem with that. That talking about my child doing something good, why should a parent have any problem with that? Should not. I mean, I'm not saying that they may, I mean, that's a parent's decision, but that's all we are doing. All we are saying is that we are going to talk about first within their school itself or within their friends. And I'm saying make out a newsletter. Make a newsletter where this aspect can be put out, and in the form that those parents are okay with. That this much is what needs to be put out there, and you don't have to disclose this or disclose whatever. We can see what needs to be put out. But important thing is highlighting that individual, because mediation not to be put out as a process to be defined for people, mediation as a process connected to that individual. What this person does is mediation, is what people should know. And that kind of a person also, they should be able to, I mean, I'm telling you, if you you ask this question, first of all, right now it's a theoretical activity, what we're doing. Just one person you talk to and a few children, and when you bring them in, and we don't have to, of course, record those conversations, but when you bring them in, and when they talk about what I'm saying, that because they too talk about it, and when they talk about it and you'll hear them, you'll know what I'm saying and how it's going to go. It's going to, you know where to take it. Because today, right now, it is something that, of course, we've been programmed to believe that there is some training or some certification or something we have to take to the children or to any place. For the moment, we just have to remove that from our mind. We are only highlighting basic human interaction. That's all. That's all we want to do right now. And this interaction does happen, because all the negative of it, putting it out, benefits someone to do it. Be it media, be it social media, they want you to watch things, read things. So negative is definitely picked up very fast. I don't know how many positive things you have read in the last few days. Michelle, any positive thing you read anywhere?
I'm sure it is something.
Something
and
nice.
It can't come. It just roll off my tongue.
And it's okay. There's some negative thing that you read in the last.
Yeah, all the time.
Exactly. That's what the issue is. That's exactly what I'm saying. So now, when the nice, good things, because everyone is going to be interested to know how something got resolved, and because in a way they would have similar issues going around them, but no one told them that this is something that is happening around you. Someone said there is a way, it's a good way, you should be able to resolve it amicably. That's a theoretical concept, but this is a practical thing. Yes, so and so did it. I also have faced such an issue. I don't have anyone around me to help me. Maybe I can talk to this person to help me. That's how that culture develops in a way. I'm saying that things can go viral whenever it can. We don't know what goes viral, and if the children in one school can create something and it is spoken about, that can be a model, and they'll take it to other schools. We don't have to keep doing it. If you think that we as individuals can reach all the children in this world, you will be surprised as the number of children in schools in India. If you have, I keep doing this little quiz, but Michelle, how many children in schools in India? A guess, one guess. Just a guess. Okay. How many people? What is the population of the US? Let's just look at it as 300 million. Okay.
I'm handing this over to someone else.
Tina, any guess how many children in schools in India? Okay. Then you want to unmute herself because
we know
this is quiz time. This is quiz time.
I'm going to say billions of children are in India. There's millions of children, school children. So
that sounds nice, Lydia, but how many children?
How many children? I could ask Chat GPT.
Oh, no. The idea is to shock you too, sir. Erin has already done the little research. Erin, quick answer. How many children in schools in India?
I'm gonna guess there's billions of people in India,
Billions,
right?
not billions. 1.4 billion. 1.4
1
billion.
point,
1.4
well,
billion people.
almost 2 billion.
No, no, 1.4 only. Okay, so basically we have 250, let me tell you, 250 million children in schools. Now we have to reach
Okay.
all of them. And each, as individuals, we are not going to be able to do it. It has to be a way that has to be a multiplier concept. And the multiplier can only happen if you bring in the right children, and those children bring in the children that they feel are the right children, and they create spaces around them. That's the way it's going to develop, and it has to be developed the way they want to take it forward. But we are giving them whatever little structure that I talk about is a little structure of, if it's called a circle. That's the the biggest structure that I'm doing. It's a circle that you're creating of a community of people who have that kind of a mindset coming together. What they do together, where they take that, because there is a lot of work that they can do just in that small space that they are, which is that larger community of the school. In that, a smaller community of such people will have a very important role to play as they keep growing, because people will get to know that there are people who have that mindset, that silence that we are talking about. Yes, that will bring out those sounds of silence is what. And very nice, Michelle. I like this. Bringing out the sounds of silence.
Peace of mind. It's peace of mind to know that she knows herself and who the woman she was raised to become in this life, and through life
raised to be,
experiences
that's the
that
thing.
grows.
The way you're raised to be. I mean, the raised to be has so much around it. Raised to be
Strong Black
how,
woman.
but the words that were used around you, the conduct of your mother that you saw, lots of things
I'm
are
grateful.
raised by, is a lot of, lots goes behind that, and that's what maybe we need to put. But Erin is going to say something.
Well, and this is something that I talk about in my community a lot. And it can't be just here in my community. I would assume this is happening a lot more places than we want to talk about. But the trauma that we've experienced generationally and collectively, due to the way that things used to be, is compounded inside of each human that's here today. We all hold memories, thoughts, feelings of our ancestors. And with all of that inside of us, it just, for me, I really feel like moving forward, we have to understand the underlying trauma that most of us have faced. And in my community, we're compounded with drugs. We're a small community. We are a very large rural area with 100,000 people in this very, very large amount of land. Okay. And in that amount of land, the mental health institution here just came out and said that there were, out of 100,000 people, there were something like 52,000 prescriptions for opioids in 2022. And so that alone is alarming. I know there's a lot to do with numbers there, and that one prescription may be for, one person has 4 prescriptions throughout the year. So it's not that many people, but it's alarming, the amount of drugs that are being used both over the counter and, underground. And the amount of drugs that we use, the amount of alcohol that's being used is just there to help us get through these feelings that we have trapped deep inside of us that we don't know how to process, that we don't know is actually there. And for those of us who had seriously hard traumatic lives growing up, you learn that this is normal. This is your life. This is just what everybody else is, right? This, because I went through it, you must have gone through it too. And at some point we grow up and we realize that. But when we are stuck in this mental health state of maybe, for example, you get into drugs at 14 years old and you don't stop, you're stuck in a mental health or a mental spot of being 14 years old. And you don't progress until you get off the drugs and you really start working on yourself. And so that healing collectively has to come from families, from individuals, and from communities, and also worldwide.
at least for the United States, in my opinion. We all have to work at understanding we are traumatized. We have a lot going on deep within us that is generational, and we have to face it in order for us to actually be good at conflict resolution.
But one thing, Erin, is that people don't want you to heal, because to keep you in that state, they benefit by selling you alcohol, selling you drugs, selling you so much because of that. So that is where the problem is, that too many vested interests on the other side to maintain that status quo of a society in conflict. And
I
that
agree.
to break that needs people who are doing it not because they have a vested interest in terms of materialism, but they have a vested interest because they want to do good. And those are the people will be difficult to find to start with, because initially definitely people don't know, but once you find the right people and that little circle or that little atmosphere is created, more people would come in, because they will see other people, like-minded kind of people. I'm hoping, I'm not saying, look, I'm maybe, sometimes, okay, I say I'm idealistic maybe, but some people say I'm naive. Maybe I'm naive, maybe, but I have to be who I am, because if I can be what I am, and Michelle can be what she is, or Tina can be who she is, or you can be who you are, there is hope. There
Yeah.
are people like that. That's what the whole concept. How does it work? Why do I keep doing what I keep doing? Is because I know there are people like that. Only thing is, I have my limitations into how many people I can reach out to, and that's why you are required. Reaching out, and actually, it's not about just saying, "Okay, we are doing this," and come in. You'll have to interact with the first level. This multiplier, this multi-level marketing only happens because if you get the right people in that first circle that you are creating. And then when you know that you've got the right people, they will reach out to the right people. That's all I do. I have the limited number of people that I connect with, because I only want to connect with those people whom I know have those values and everything. And I don't even have to, I can't even list that out. It is just the person. If I meet Michelle and I talk to her, why do I have in conversation with the beautiful mind? Because when I talk to her, I don't have to list out, this is what I'm looking for. I just talk to her. I know what she is. I know the kind of person she is. So that's what you will also get to know. When you reach out and you get those people in and you have that conversation, you will know that, yes, these people are those people that you want in the circle. Then when they reach out to people, just think of the multiplier, and which I've been saying for so long. I just have to bring the first 1,000 in, and they reach 1,000. You have 1,000,000 people. That's how fast it can happen. And that's, I'm talking a very small level. I mean, I can bring in a lot more people. So, but it's, for me, it's something which I want to do in a very slow manner, because I'm very, very clear everyone can't be part of it to start with, but everyone is welcome to come in if you have the mindset. Not a problem. But you have to have the mindset, because we will have people who will have vested interest to break up this community also. Every good community that comes together, there are on the other side, their vested interest to break it up. So how do you handle that is going to be more of a challenge for you than anything else. To keep it together with the same values that you are bringing in, and letting it continue that way, is the one that you have to be careful about. Don't, I mean, how you handle it, I'm going to leave it to you. I'm not going to be able to give you a lesson on to how to deal with it, but you will face that. Supremacists, when I talk about supremacists, are not only in terms of color. The supremacists in relation to language, the relation nationality, in terms of qualification, of course, wealth, various kinds of supremacists are out there. So to start with, we don't want them. But as we go along, maybe Erin she got disconnected, whatever. But that's the whole idea. So in this way, what I'm saying, Michelle, is there some thought as to how you're going to be taking it forward?
Well, I'm taking everything in because I recognize that pain and brokenness is profitable. Misery loves company, and we are moving against the grain. And even though we're moving against the grain, I do believe that wait, Erin she says her phone overheated and died. So that's why she says she would like to tell everyone thank you.
It was a very heated conversation. That's all we can say.
But knowing that there is pleasure and pain with people, you know, keeping that pain going. I think that we need to stay focused and work against the grain because we can change people one person at a time. Undergrad, a student told, well, he was a peer of mine. He told me we could change people. He saw something in me, and I was getting my business administration degree, and he saw something in me. I think we were both studying sociology. We're minor in sociology, and he says, Michelle, you can make the change, but it's just one person at a time because I just saw where it would be difficult. But when I look at myself, and I always say, if I could change, anybody can change. And I like to have faith in other people because I wanted someone to have faith in me. And when I realized that I had to have that faith in me also, then it can happen. So us as conflict resolution practitioners, peacemakers, mediators, I think that we have that opportunity and that power because it's a gift also to not give up and not feel like we can't make a difference one person at a time. And so the same way you accepted me into this circle, Vikram, when I tell you, oh, without telling my age, 30 years ago, you would have said no, you wouldn't have wanted me in your circle because I just was not there. Not that I was one that enjoyed trouble, but I was so broken that I couldn't see past the gray skies, and I couldn't see that there was a rainbow at the end of that storm in my life. And because I saw my life as being filled with conflict, I looked at the world as just conflict. So all of these different people, whether we're talking about children, young adults, or adults, we all have to realize that brokenness within ourselves in order to say, okay, I'm prepared. I'm ready to make that next step. And for me, yes, I'm ready to make that next step. And it's not profit in moving forward with these type of things. It's so much work that I do that is free, you know, because the gift of it or that tangible asset for me is the change, you know, and it's just seeing that a behavior is different. I don't need you to put that money in my hand. I need to see a difference in behavior. And that for me is worth more than that dollar that I get, you know, that I could get, you know. My mom said, Shelly, get a job and invest in yourself with something that you love to do. This is what I love to do. It doesn't make me rich, but it makes the world rich in good people. And so I think if we all come together and just stay persistent. If I don't make it to every Vikram session, it's because I'm actually working and I'm trying to make a difference. It's not that I don't want to, because I do, but I literally have to make sure that I do take time and invest in the circle and make sure that I am engaging and participating. Because when you say to me, Michelle, tell me something good, I should be able to tell you something good. And while you were talking, I got a message from someone from like 20 years ago that I helped, not knowing that this was my mindset, but I helped him. And he just sent me a message out of the blue, thanking me for changing his mindset, literally just now. So it's just like,
It's
these
all
are
out there.
things, right? It's these are the things, that's the good news. We want to lead with the good. We want to change that bad news, and we want to lead with the good news to change the culture of the world of negativity. We turn on the news and the first thing we hear and see is negative. They'll end with something positive. And that could be someone won a sports game or something, you know, but then they make it so the one that lost, that's the bad part. You're a loser. You're not a loser. You're just learning to win, you know? So it's a process to everything that we're doing. And if we just stay persistent and work together with everybody that's in the circle, whether it is within the United States or outside of the United States, because you are global, Vikram. I mean, when I say that I'm talking to Vikram, I'm like, I'm speaking in India with Vikram, and I'm like totally bragging because I'm feeling myself because these are barriers that we have crossed. And you're making that space, that safe space, but it's also open where you provide your insight, your opinions, and through your experience, and you've talked to people from all over, and we're able to come together and say, okay, this makes sense. You changed my mind on what the word neutrality means. And I was stuck on it because I paid a whole bunch of money through Pepperdine with understanding neutrality, and I was stuck on it. But you changed that. And it wouldn't have been had we not had these type of conversations. Conversations help change mindset.
Exactly. No, no,
Long
wonderful.
2 cents.
Wonderful things. Michelle, I need to take out, like I always keep thinking, when will I get time where I should take out these clips and I put them out? These are the important ones that have to be out there. And that's what I'm saying. These are the good conversations when they happen. However, that positivity will spread, it'll spread. But the important thing is to bring those people out there. So for me, I brought some people together. Okay, global, yes. But then when you bring in people and when they come into the circle and when those conversations happen, things will become even better, even bigger. That's how it's going to grow. So it's a step-by-step situation. Up till now, what did I do all these years? Try to identify those people around the world who I felt had that mindset also, the wonderful people. They bring in those values that I'm talking about. So it's not easy. Choosing people is not easy. It's also something over time you get to know about people. Sometimes you're surprised to get to know about people, about, okay, well, here I'll talk about white supremacy. Sometimes you see that coming, which you never thought would come from some individual, but you see that coming. So it's a process of filtering that I had to do, and I have to keep doing also. But that is what you will also need to do. But to start with, just bringing those people together and not looking at changing the entire system or the entire world at one go. It'll happen when it has to happen, but just the positivity around you will make you feel good, and that's what's required to be able to grow and to do good things. First of all, you have to stay positive, because negativity can take you down in a flash. I mean, what you just said about the guy shouting out to you and saying that, it could have hit you in any way. It could have just whatever, I don't know what it could, any little word said can take you into any direction, be it in terms of violence, be in terms of how it affects you inside. Anything can happen. So to be able to reach that point when you've understood yourself, you've connected with yourself, and these things are not going to let you go in that direction, that spiritual development, and people who are at that kind of level, when they come together and when they have conversations, very nice. It's a very good feeling. And wisdom and spiritual development has no age. It's not an age related issue at all. So you'll find young people, when you have conversations with them, it's so nice to hear them when they have that kind of a mindset. So just start bringing them in, finding them, talking about it, to spread that one question out to whoever you can, and just bring them together with yourselves first, if you want to, and bring them into our larger conversations whenever you want to. So just have that conversation with them. You'll feel good, positive about it. Erin, what did I say? Why did what was so heated about what I said that your phone heated up?
I don't know. It died on me. I was like, okay, wow.
Okay, so we were just, I think, yeah, since the time you left, Michelle has some very nice things to share. So that was nice, which you will have to watch in the recording.
Yeah.
But what came out of this
Yes.
was that the first thing is to be able to reach out and identify those people and bring them into a conversation with yourselves whenever you get time. It's okay, you'll have to take out some time. But one thing that I was going to answer, Michelle, which I was just going to do, was about the aspect of money. My concept was that, in a way, this is also your marketing exercise. So if you are creating a circle in a school, you are the face for that circle in that school. You are, through that circle, reaching out to children, but you're also reaching out to parents and, of course, the school. The aspect of the, first of all, the right face to be out there is what for me is important. But you've gone out and not selling mediation. You're doing something good for that community. You're creating something for that community. And also, because you are practicing in that area, if they need you, They will get in touch with you for issues, and there'll be work for you. But at the same time, you are doing good work for the community. So both things will happen at the same time. And how does that multiplier effect work? Which is that example I gave about a college. So a college students have created something, and you've given them that basic confidence that you have it in you. Go out into your communities, into your families. If there is any dispute, anything, ask them, that you'll help them resolve it. First, you have to give them that confidence. So once you've done, they've gone there and they've gone out and actually identified those conflicts and disputes which need to be resolved. And they're saying, look, we'll help you. But if for any reason they can't, one, because maybe the people don't trust someone of a certain age, because we have this age factor, some people have this age factor, then they bring you in as a co-mediator. Then let's go to Michelle. Let's sit with Michelle. She can help us, help you. So they marketed your practice also. You've created you've got a co-mediator for you out there, who's now this way you're able to handle so many more conflicts, because in your limited time, how many can you do individually? But if you've got 1,000 of these children out there to start with, I'm just saying 1,000, it's going to be 10,000, 100,000 as you go along. But so many people that you have out there, it's a whole army of people who are out there identifying actual conflicts we need to be resolved. So you've marketed your practice and you're the face for that. So that way, I mean, dollars should come in, Michelle. Dollars are also required. If you're not going to be able to give me time, if that is not coming in, because
Well, no, I get paid for my work, but I give back to the community. I do a lot
this
of.
is but this is your giving back. This is going to be a giving back. Creating circles. Creating circles is going to be a giving back, because that'll have a larger kind of impact as you go along, because you'll see that growing. You create that and you plant the seed in a school and you move on to another school, another one. But when you go back and you see good things happening there and a community developing there, you'll feel so good about it, because you would have changed someone's life. And that is, even that one life, if you change, we're happy with that also. I mean, what's wrong with that also? If we have been able to do that, that's like major. Like you just said, this message that you got, please tell Erin about it. Erin, you weren't there. Michelle just told us about a message she received from someone whom she'd helped 20 years back. And the person writes today, right now, saying, you changed my life.
Let me read it. He's from Ukraine, and I taught him I used to teach bartending. He was 18 when I taught him, and he couldn't like do anything with real liquor because of his age. He just wrote me, hey, randomly saw your post, and I'm really glad I met a person like you. You taught me a lot about courage in this life. I hope everything is good in your life. I had no idea that I even touched him, like that. This young kid from Ukraine, and I made a difference in his life, and he's sending me this message, 20 plus years later.
Amazing.
So amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
And that's what we want
and
to say.
I think one of the things that we as mediators, number one, I don't think there's money in mediation. Number two, I think mediators are also people who lead towards resources, right? Mm-hmm. We help them bring in the resources that they need. We are a prime position to help people consider the things that might help them through their process, right? And so along with that, I think working with your community and building those bridges of all the resources in the area that could potentially help people when they're in conflict, like family resources, home life resources, educational resources, and having these really serious, deep conversations about where change comes from and where conflict comes from and how we can help ourselves and help each other is key to our success as a society.
And I think, Bettina.
Vikram, I'm getting messages that people were waiting to get in. So is there a way for us to check next time? I'm not sure with the updates with Zoom. And I'm going to probably have to sign off at 2. But I love what you shared, Michelle and Erin. I really appreciate the inspiration. So the evolution that you described, Michelle, makes me think of inclusiveness and why it's so important, and that growth, that opportunity for growth, that we all can just continue to be the best people that we could be in this life. So the good news that I have is that I've been speaking to the university I graduated from, Salisbury University, one of the universities. And so I'm going to keep working on that, that idea, and developing that mediator mindset, and hopefully building that bridge for mediation circles, because it's going to be a process of step by step by step, and continue to work on that, nurturing.
But I'm just thinking,
So
but
what
I'm
about these
thinking,
50?
I'm
Go
thinking that
ahead.
every university needs a mediator, because hand in
Mhm.
hand with an ombuds. That's what I had that discussions. That's why if you go online and on YouTube also, if you search Mediator Vikram and ombuds, you'll see all those discussions I've had. That, let it stay as it is, because that they have a much wider role to play. But every university with the ombuds should have a mediator. That's what we should need to put
Yes.
it out. And that mediator then creates that mediation circle in the university also, bringing those
Mhm.
people together who have that mindset, asking that same question, and bringing slowly bringing that community together. So that role, and that's the role I've been saying for the organizations also. People maybe think that why in an organization would you want to build capacity of people with the mediator mindset? But actually within the organization, if that culture develops and they can actually experience someone coming in and actually building that collaborative kind of an environment, they'll at least, when they benefit from it, they'll take it back with them wherever they go, which is they will go into their families and their communities. They'll take it to their children. That's how things will grow. The problem is that people don't experience it, or some, only maybe some experience it, because those people,
Yes.
then I'm not saying there's so many people out there with that mindset, but whoever has experienced it, and I mean identifying those people and bringing it out, that should be our initial focus. Because it's not that there are going to be lots of those people out there. That's the thing. And if some people are missing out of they don't have those people around them because no one has spoken about it. But no one has said that, oh, I have this person who does this. And some people might have gone into certain direction in life only because sometimes that one person could have changed them in that moment of time. Could be into violence, could be into drugs, whatever. If they had that one person who, in terms of wisdom or that spiritual development, which I say again says not age based, was with them, maybe could have changed their lives. So if they don't have that person around them and we can connect them to such a person, imagine what good we are doing for them. So,
Yes, yes, yes. So I also think we need to connect with technology. I use ChatGPT probably every day, multiple times a day. I'm leaning into it, integrating technology into my life. So 50.8 million children, school children, and 240 million school children in India.
and we have to
And
reach all of them.
this is a start.
Yes,
Yeah, we can reach them. Yeah. So
whatever it be it technology, be it whatever way it is, but the important thing is to be able to bring out those people first, who are
yeah.
all hiding there somewhere because no one speaks about them, because it is just a skill which is not valued, but a skill of arguing, of debating, which was I was saying, those are
Mhm.
valued because that, that there is some, I don't know how that that impact is felt by people, because someone argued something out, but someone just in a nice conversation was able to take you into a certain direction. Maybe that impact is not felt, whatever the reasons are. I mean, with that by itself in another will be another whole area of maybe some research and everything. But why doesn't it work? Why don't people talk about it? Maybe, but that's what we are doing. We are bringing that
Yeah.
out, and then how we are going to record those things in, okay, be it video clips, or could be if Tina has time, she'll pick out some transcripts and she'll those experiences will create into a newsletter. And Erin is saying something.
Yeah, and I think another point of this is when taking it a bit further and recording meetings that we have as a community. I'm sitting here mulling over, what can we do in our own areas? And right now, my company is putting on a youth resource symposium for the community so that all resources in the area who work with children can come together and talk. And it's free. It's an all-day event. I'm trying to provide food for the event as well. And it's going to be a place for them to learn about what each other does, why they do it, how they do it, how to refer to one another, and then trying to build a bridge that promotes them working together as a whole person approach, because they each have a piece of the pie. And if we can bring the whole pie together and bring those pieces together, the whole person and then the whole family and then the whole community will all start to, benefit from this. And my approach has always been, I will change the world starting with my community, starting with my family, starting with myself.
But I'm going to change all that for you, Erin. The world is a family. Okay. So it's not my family. We're all part of you. We're all part of your family.
Okay,
Erin?
but immediately I can make differences with my children and with my own mind. The way I raise my children and the way I see things within myself affect the way I walk around in the world. And I can change my perception. I can change my paradigm. I can change these things within myself. And here's a quote that's always sat with me. People don't resist change. They resist being changed. They have to want to change.
Yes.
So when you bring thoughts of a better way of doing things or a potentially better way of doing things, and you allow a person to sit with that, mull it over, have your feelings on it, and maybe, grow through it, that's when we'll find change and success, I feel.
Yeah. But main important thing now you're going to do is whatever interaction you have with anyone, you're going to think they're part of your family. Okay. Deal with them and you're going to interact with them in that way. It's all one big family, Erin.
I agree with you, Vikram, but in order for there to be peace within the whole family, it can start with my individual unit to help bring that peace out and teach my children to be peace agents and to teach my children how to be, my children are fierce advocates. Michelle, Tina, you'd be super proud. They are fierce for anyone who is in need of support and advocacy. And I mean anyone. And that has gotten my daughter into a little bit of hot water, during the anti-masking situation. But I'm so proud of who she is because she knows that you cannot just sit back and watch people do the wrong thing and watch people be harmed and watch things fall apart without standing up and saying, I think I might be able to help you.
Another important part. One, the third Friday of the month, we meet. The other thing is that World Mediators Conference. Now, my issue is that I fixed up all these gatherings of all the circles. Where is there going to be time for the World Mediators Conference is what I really don't know. So should that happen or not happen? Should that World Mediators Conference happen?
Yeah.
Should happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about my circles? What about the gatherings of the circles? What is going to happen with that? That needs to
I
be
think that more of us need to invest in your time, Vikram. I think that the more of us who believe in what you're doing, we may not believe fully in the whole message, but we believe in a lot of what you're saying. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I totally know. It's good that you agree with a lot of it. I'm very surprised.
I agree with a lot of what you say. And so standing behind you, I can, be a patron of your website and help you to be putting these circles on and promoting these things, because I think it's fabulous that you're not about money and that you're not about, you're about helping people, and people need help right now.
And for me, the thing is that just the fact that this conversation that we're having, whatever way it's developing, that by itself gives so much happiness. I mean, you can't Look, money can't buy that. Clear. That's very clear. Money can't buy good conversations with good people. It can't.
Right.
Just can't. So that part of it is what I do it for.
And it's not right to leave people out because they can't afford it.
Absolutely.
This life here is too hard to be living and day to day, paycheck to paycheck, and having resources hold you back because you can't afford to participate in them is not going to help anyone in our whole family, is it?
Exactly. So that's what we have to do. We have to open up all the good with all the words of wisdom to everyone. That's what we need to do. But of course, livelihood is something that people have to look at. And if the livelihood comes from that, how do we change that? That is what
I think that the answer for my company is to have different ways for money to be coming in. I have lots of different paths of money flowing through my company so that I can take my time and invest it in people who need it the most and can't afford it.
Because when you have something free, the pay it will balance out. Everything balances out for me.
Yes, and I'm finding I can partner with vendors in my area that are 501c3s and have grants that, I'm filling gaps in their grant processes that they have no people to fill. So this is an amazing opportunity for people to get help who can't afford it and for me to still have a little bit of money to keep the bills going,
I think
I have to interject because I have to get ready to leave soon. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for coming in. And of course, we are going to continue these conversations, and these conversations will happen. You know the days now, for the USA Mediation Circle, but the community, school, organization, all those also have to be done. So we'll fix a date for that, whenever that has to happen. So thank you very much. And like always, a pleasure seeing you. And we'll see you soon. See you soon. Bye.
See you. Talk soon.
And bring people in.
Good
That's
to
the main
see you, as
important thing.
always.
Please bring people in, ask that question. And I think that's what hasn't happened, is that growing of the circle is only going to happen when you bring people in. And be it if you feel that you just have to do it with the circle that you create in that also, but at least bring them together and then test out what I'm saying. Test out this aspect that are there people like that who are helping people. You'll test that out. You'll get them in. So thank you very much for coming in. And thank you very much for launching the circle. This is just the starting point. This is just the seed we've planted. Lots of work to grow that tree. Lots of work to happen. Okay. And of course, Erin, thank you. Thank you for being a patron.
Thank you.
It's very nice of you. We don't have too many in this world, but it's always, it just feels nice. Okay, there is someone there who's thought about it. So that was good.
Yeah.
I also want to promote you, Vikram. You need to be getting more Patreon so that your time is worthy too.
I hope there are people listening to you somewhere. But I stopped. I don't even send. There was one point of time which I actually sent out some emails and I wrote to people. Nothing happened. I said, now I'm just not going to. Now, even when I do this presentation, I stop at that point where that form is, the link to the form. I don't even go beyond that. There's no use. I'll have to do what I keep doing. People are not going to listen to this aspect. So let's not even talk about it. But the important thing is that let's create these circles and get. I mean, I'm just saying why the first step of bringing those people in, because when you listen to their experiences, you'll be happy. And these are very innocent kind of things, which, I mean, you would think that these little children, do they actually sitting together? Do they even talk like this? Do they really have these conversations? And you'll be so happy. So that's what the first step is. Yep. So I'll see you, of course, on the 24th. 24th, we have the World Mediation Circle. And then on that day, we'll discuss more on this aspect. So thank you very much.
That's done. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for coming. Bye.
Everybody have a good weekend.
You too.
You too.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.